1 minute. Commodore Geiger,
Yeah,
take it away.
I
It's
show
your
10
meeting.
a.m. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first board and staff meeting of 2021. Rick, would you call the meeting to order?
Yes, Commodore. I'd like to call this first meeting of 2021 of the District Board and Staff to order. Mr. Patrick Porter, if you would do the roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody is well and safe. District Commodore Geiger,
Present.
District Chief of Staff Ebel,
Present.
District Captain LALB North Fiamingo,
Present.
District Captain LALB South Bozarth,
Present.
District Captain San Diego and Inland Donahoe,
Present.
Immediate Past Commodore Harshfield,
Present.
Directory of Auxiliary Commander Keenan,
Present.
OTO Devoy, District Commander 1 Peterson,
Not here, but Islos is standing in for me.
thank you, sir. District Commander 4 Pearson,
He's working today.
thank you. District Commander 5 Brown,
Present.
District Commander 6 Palmer,
Present.
District Commander 7 Cortez,
Present.
District Commander 9 Walker, Vice District Commander 9 Lupati,
This Commander Walker is on. He's not answering, but he's on
Thank
video.
I apologize. I had my microphone
welcome, thank you.
off. Thank you.
District Commander 10 Smith,
Present.
District Commander 11 Ziegler, Vice District Commander 11 Saba,
I'm here.
thank you. District Commander 12 Scott,
Present. Ziegler's here. Our star is muted.
thank you very much. And President PDCA. And that concludes the roll call.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Bill Freed, can you determine if we have a quorum, please?
We do have a quorum as a board.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commodore Harshfield, would you please introduce our guest speaker for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yep, stand by.
Patrick Quay Fo is in for Division 4.
Excellent, thank you.
Me. Screen share. Where's he at? Come on, share my screen. And yes, we have a special guest. So
There's no sound.
Can you hear it?
No.
No.
Stand by.
Let's go.
No, come on, I got the wrong one queued up. Miss that one, didn't I? Come on.
Commodore, do we want to go with Plan B?
Is it not coming through?
No.
Go for it.
All right. We were going to try to get Jake from State Farm, but he couldn't make it today. Chief of Staff Ebel, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Be my pleasure. Right hand over your hearts, please. And begin. I pledge allegiance
to
to
the
the
flag
flag of the United States of
of
America
America
and to the republic
Republic
for which it
which it
stands,
stands,
one
One
nation,
nation,
under
under God,
indivisible,
Indivisible, with liberty
liberty,
and justice for all.
Thank you. We have
All right.
a few special guests I would like to introduce. We have Deputy Sector Commander Captain Bernstein with us today. Captain, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thanks, Charlie. Hi, everyone. It's great to see everyone in Zoom land today. I think Kat Moore should be on her way into Zoom land here shortly, where we planned on joining you just for a couple minutes at the beginning of your program. I know you have just a huge schedule teed up for today, so I'm not going to take too long. But I just wanted to give you an update of where we were at the sector, what we're doing. And where we see things going here in the future. And mostly I'm going to speak through a COVID lens because that's kind of been my primary duty these last couple months. But first off, I wanted to just thank everyone and thank you guys for all of your support and hard work trying to get back in the saddle as we solidify what phase 2 operations looks like. And I know some of you have already been out there on the water, and we truly appreciate it. We sorely miss you at the sector, and I know our young guys and gals miss having you around. So we are really eager to get you guys back out on the water, on the docks with us. So where we are now, I think we've been joining some of the division meetings. So some of you have heard this before, but we are, let's see, an update on our vaccine operations. As of yesterday, we've vaccinated 351 of our active duty personnel and about a handful of reservists. And that's, I think from my eyes, just a great thing that we can do. DOD is getting our own batch of vaccine, so we're not taking any away from the local community here. We're getting our own allocations, and we're just trying to push it out to our active duty and reservists as quickly as possible. So that's going well. In terms of operations, we're still optimally manned at the sector. So we have folks who can telework or trying to telework the majority of the time. They're coming into the office. And I think our cutters and stations, they're pretty much back to what I would consider ops normal. They're just trying to keep their bubbles pretty tight in terms of their duty sections. But it looks like a lot of what it did like back in March for us. And unfortunately, I think that's where we're going to be in the next couple months until we can get everyone vaccinated. But that's enough about what we're doing. I know you guys have a great schedule today. I'm sorry I can't join you for the entire day. But again, thanks for having me. Thanks for allowing me to chat with you for a few minutes. I'm happy to take a few questions if you have them, and I'll do my best to answer them.
Nothing from anyone? All right, thank you very much, Captain.
Oh, and it looks like, I think Kat Moore may have just popped in. So I can, Captain, don't mean to put you on the spot, but I just got done saying hello to everyone, offering to answer some questions. Would you like to add anything?
Hi, good morning, everybody. I apologize for being a couple moments late. It is a terrific honor. Commodore Geiger, well, thank you so much for the invitation. And to Commodore Harshfield, immediate prior Commodore, thank you for your tenure as Commodore during a very challenging time and the smooth handoff. We were just talking about transition here with the sector team, the active duty team, and the baton handoff, and it appears that the baton was handed off seamlessly. So congratulations to you both. I know you have a jam-packed schedule this morning, and Captain Bernstein probably already mentioned this, but it is so much fun for us for the division meetings that we've been able to join. Thank you for letting us pop in for a few minutes just to say hello and to check in. We have just been really amazed by the great ideas and innovation that are happening within the divisions. And I hope today, as you go through your division introductions, maybe you get a small opportunity to share some of that, because there's great ideas popping up in the divisions, and it's incredible, and they're ideas that are benefiting the service in our community. And we miss you guys. We are so excited that I know it feels slow, but that Ox Phase 2 is underway and folks are able to take advantage of it. And there's great work going on with Channel Islands, and there's great work going on with the forward operating base Magoo. And, every Monday, I'm not sure if all of you know this, but every Monday, John Ross, before COVID times, would have a slide in our morning 0800 morning briefing at Sector. And we just picked that up 2 weeks ago. John started introducing that slide, and it's a glimmer of hope that's here now, because it feels a little bit like normal, and we look forward to those Ox activities increasing. I'm sure Captain Bernstein said, not a lot of changes on the COVID front in terms of how we're operating at Sector, but gosh, we're hopeful. We're hopeful for 2021. So I also want to just take a moment and again mention our deepest condolences for our auxiliarist Keith Green, liaison to Halibut. I know Lieutenant Ginter was able to be a part of his services, and our deepest sympathies and our hearts go out to his wife, Andrea, who I know is grieving through a really difficult time. So we really look forward to seeing you all in person. I don't know when that's going to be, but we sure appreciate opportunities like this. And have a great meeting. It's so nice to see so many of you. And anything you need, any suggestions you have, I'll be on for a little while this morning. Happy to just observe the chat, and I won't get in the way of your meeting proceedings, but really grateful for the time. Thank you so much, Commodore.
Captain Orr and Captain Bernstein, thank you very much. And also thank you for taking the time to attend some of our division meetings this year. That's something we have not had in the past. And I guess that's one of the benefits of the Zoom room. Moving along now, I'd like to introduce
Excuse me, Commodore, there's a couple items we passed over that we need to, I believe, go back and take care of.
Sure.
We need to have Mr. Palmer, our district lay leader, give our invocation.
Oh, we did skip over that. Please, Mr. Palmer, can you give us the invocation, please?
Yes, let us pray. Father, we come before you this day to ask for your blessing upon this meeting, that we will accomplish all the tasks that are before us with expedience and efficiency. Let us maintain control over the difficult situations and conditions that we're functioning under, always remembering the mission before us in serving this great country that we live in. Let us take our jobs, our positions seriously, that we may serve in those positions righteously and always enduring the pressures of solitude and anxiety. Let us maintain focus and resolve, and give us victory over this pandemic. And it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Wayne. Rick, do you want to present some of the ground rules for the meeting this morning?
Absolutely. First of all the members of the board, we would like you to keep your cameras on and your mics muted, with the exception of those who are speaking and doing a presentation. And of course, when we're doing intros for the DDCs and the DSOs, please turn your camera on so everybody can see you, and when you're giving your report. Please have a copy of your agenda so you can follow along and see what we're doing. And of course, microphones off, I've already mentioned that. And please, if you do have your microphone on, make sure your phone or any other device is silenced. And if anything comes up through the meeting, we'll let you know. All right, back to you, Commodore Geiger.
Thank you, Rick. I'd like to recognize any of the past Commodores that are with us. I saw Commodore Blanchett checked in. Bert, where are you? You there? It's kind of like, where's Waldo here? I think Commodore Blanchett's with us.
I'm here.
There he is. Good morning. Good morning, Commodore.
My mic muted. And for Mr. Ebel, our district chief of staff, Colonel Sanders is alive and well.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Thank you, Commodore. I don't see any of the other past Commodores. Am I missing anybody? I'd like to now introduce my staff, most of which are familiar faces to most of you. First of all, our DSO legal, Bill Freed. This is Bill's first year as our legal officer. Commodore Mike Johnson stepped down after several years of service. And I'd like to thank Commodore Johnson for his service and for his offer to mentor Bill when asked. Bill has already offered several opinions, and I'm thrilled to have him on the team. Thank you for stepping up, Bill.
Thank you, Commodore.
DSO Finance, Virgil Campbell. Most, if not all of you, know Virgil. After I was elected last September, Virgil was the first one I wanted to call.
Randy?
What was that? What was that?
My apologies, Commodore.
Virgil is one of the first ones I wanted to call to invite back, but I was afraid he might say no because he was now living in Colorado. So I put it off, and finally Virgil called me. When I saw his name on caller ID, I said, uh-oh, this might not be good. But Virgil just said something like, you want me back or not? And that's typical Virgil. So yes, Virgil, we want you back. DSO Secretary of Records, Patrick Porter. Virgil and Patrick usually come as a team, and this year was no exception. Thank you so much for returning, Patrick. It's always a pleasure working with you, and I value your support and friendship. Thank you.
Thank you, Commodore.
Our Coast Guard sector coordinators. Our ASCs are our primary connection to the active duty Coast Guard, and we have two of the best anywhere, and they're both returning for another 2 years. In addition to being our primary connection to the sectors, the ASCs also supervise the unit coordinators in their respective sectors. John Ross for Sector LA Long Beach and Mike Fulgham for Sector San Diego. Thank you both for all you do. I'm looking forward to working both with you in 2021.
My pleasure, Commodore.
John Ross is also our DSO for emergency management. It goes hand in hand with the duties of sector coordinator, and so far it seems to be a good fit. Holding both offices should serve to prevent a possible duplication of effort. Thank you for stepping up to double duty, John. Mike Fulgham will serve as an ADSO for you and work closely. Our Chief Administrative Investigator, Tom Jacobsmeyer. If you know Tom, that might mean you screwed up, or hopefully worked with Tom on an audit or during an investigation. I'm not sure how many qualified investigators we have right now, but we may be calling on some of you to be trained as an investigator. Thank you for Tom for returning as our chief investigator. Where are you, Tom?
I'm right here. I'm off the camera. We have 5 investigators right now, Commodore.
5, thank you. And last but not least, my aides. Mary Jo Alex is my administrative assistant and was already tasked with preparing the appointed officer certificates. These certificates are suitable for framing for those that wish to do so. I think you will agree that they're an improvement over the letters we used to send. Most have been mailed already, and I know we have a few more to do. The DDCs will be following up on that. Thank you, Mary Jo, for your support. I have 4 aides this year. Commodore Harshfield is my technical aide, and he helps with AV equipment and supports virtual and in-person meetings and elections. Chris has done the same thing for National for years, and I'm delighted to have him. He is also our DSO for computer services and an ADSO for emergency management. You will hear more about these other duties that Chris has later on today. Norm Bundick is another of my aides, and he has already been my go-to guy for a myriad of things. I run all sorts of things by Norm for input, and I love that he is not afraid to tell me that I screwed up again. As you may know, Norm is also our DSO HR. Thanks for all you do, Norm.
Thank you, Commodore.
Alan Carver, are you here this morning? Alan Carver offered to serve as an advisor for awards writing. A lot of members are reluctant to submit awards because they don't know how to write the awards. Alan is here to help with that. As a 50-year member of the auxiliary and a retired lieutenant commander in the Coast Guard, Alan has a tremendous amount of experience to share. He is also an ADSO for comms and a longtime friend to many of us. Ann Chiaffi. Is there anyone that doesn't know Ann Chiaffi? Ann is one of our aides, and she will focus on developing leadership classes to support our district vision. Ann's experience in teaching AUXLAMs for the national staff has provided her with the skill set to tie in her presentations with the Coast Guard leadership competencies. Ann has already presented a class on change, one of my watchwords, and you will see her at the podium again soon. I would now like to invite the district captains to introduce their division commanders and vice commanders. Let's start with Rod Donahue, San Diego Inland.
Yes, thank you, Commodore. We have with us today Robert Eastless on behalf of Gary Peterson. Gary had an appointment. He'll be with us this afternoon. Mr. Eastless is the first time Vice Division Commander, and so we welcome him. And we also have David Walker in Division 9. And David will tell us if his vice is with us. And we have Matt Smith in Division 10.
Thank you, Rod. Michael Bozart, LA South.
Thank you, Commodore. All three division commanders are here. Division 5 is Mr. David Brown. First-time division commander this year, covering our Port of LA, Belmont Shores, Huntington Beach, AOR. Division 6, we got Mr. Wayne Palmer returning as our division commander this year, who I rely on and expect to rely on quite heavily this year. He's looking after our Orange County area, which runs essentially from Seal Beach to Dana Point and parts of northern Orange County. And finally, in LALB South is Division 11, which Mr. Jim Ziegler is our first-time division commander this year there. And he's probably got one of the larger AORs covering all of Riverside and San Bernardino County.
Thank you, Boz. And Mike Fiamingo, captain of LA North.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to introduce our new division commander and vice commander in Division 4, and that is Jim Pearson as division commander and Quay Pho as the vice commander supporting him. In Division 7, we have Rudy Cortez as division commander and Robert Hamming as vice commander. And then in Division 12, we have Maurice Scott as division commander and Ernie Borgart as his vice commander.
Thank you, Mike. I'd now like to turn it over to Chief of Staff Evil for introductions and presentations by the DDCs and district staff officers.
Thank you, Commodore. It's my pleasure to introduce our district staff. For those of you, these people do a tremendous amount of work keeping our members educated and informed and working with the public. So DDCs, when I introduce you, I would like you to introduce your DSOs and allow them to give a brief report in their area. First, I'd like to introduce Chris Milano, our DDC of Response. Mr. Milano.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Evil. First, I'd like to introduce Tom Pelosi, who is our DSO of Operations. Tom, would you be willing to give us a brief report?
Certainly. So I'm going to talk 3 items real quick, nothing too much on this to keep things moving. First is our getting back into our phase 2. We want to make sure that all of our SOs understand that they need to be able to get our bubbles going. We have the information is all on our website, so that's where they should go to get their to do the frequently asked questions if they have any. Hit that first, and then if they can't get that taken care of there, then they can come and contact me, and I'll try to give whatever additional guidance they might need. Secondly is our QE check rides. We're going to start getting that underway. Right now, we're going to use our assignment to duty sheet to request any of our QE check rides. So want to make sure that that everyone understands that they should use that assignment to duty sheet. We're looking to try to get it in at least 45 days in advance, so that way we can schedule our QEs and get them ready to be able to get in the bubble to go out with our people that need their check rides, which this year is quite a large number. And then finally, and thirdly, there's going to be the RMTCT refreshers. We're going to be starting up again. Keep an eye on the calendar on the website. We'll start loading it up with the classes, and then our members can start signing in for the classes as they show up. We're going to be looking at doing it the same as last year, again, where we'll be online, running about 4.5 hours on a Saturday, and then we'll also do the Tuesday, Wednesday, as we did last year too, at about 2 hours, 2.5 hours per session.
Tom, could you also identify your ADSOs for the team, please?
Okay, ADSOs we have currently is Ron Mealy, and then also Mike Bozart.
Thank you very kindly.
You're welcome.
Next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Rick Ebel, our DCOS, who is also filling in as our DSO Communications. Mr. Ebel?
Thank you, Chris. There are things going on in communications that we're making some changes on. We have gone away from the district net, which was essentially being done in Orange County and parts of LA County. All of our nets now are run by the districts, or I'm sorry, the divisions. So divisions 5, 6, 7, division 1, all have their own separate nets. There's also an HF net that currently is being coordinated through District 11 North. So any of our HF folks get notified on that. We're also in the process of cleaning up our call sign list. There have been a lot of members on there that are no longer in our district. They've resigned, they've moved on, and some of them have crossed over the bar. So we're in the process of cleaning that up. Also, radio facilities. There have been a lot of radio facilities that need to be inspected or re-inspected. There's a new process involved, and there's still going to be some changes to that process. So look to your SOs for more information regarding that. Now, to introduce my ADSOs, we've changed that up a little bit this year. We have area ADSOs. So down in San Diego Inland for divisions 1, 9, and 10 is Don Theriault. For LA LB South is Gene Schultz. And then up in LA LB North, we have Alan Carver. I also have another additional ADSO CM, Don Nguyen, and he is going to be instrumental in keeping track of our inspections, who needs one, our list of all of our facilities, call signs. So right now I have 4. There may be more, but currently I only have 4. So things are changing in comms. We have a vision. We're keeping things at the division level with support from the district. We're looking at hopefully having some exercises for each division quarterly. Hopefully they can do that. All that being said, that's all I have for communications.
Thank you very kindly. Appreciate it. Next, we have David Powell, who is our DSO of Aviation. And as everyone has seen from our Commodore, that aviation is a major portion of the operational plan for 2021 and 2022. So, Mr. Powell, could you please give us your update, sir?
Yes, thank you, Chris. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to lead AUX-Air. I'm excited to ramp up and expand the air program this year. We have an opportunity to really be a force multiplier for the United States Coast Guard. The Coast Guard is faced with many challenges in light of the pandemic, and our goal in the auxiliary air program is to lighten the load, fill in the gaps in critical areas of need at a significantly lower cost. Over the next several minutes, we will discuss the status of the AUX-Air program. When AUX-Air conducts routine patrols, it increases Coast Guard awareness of fishery enforcement violations, pollution response, marine safety, ATONs and waterway security, in addition to search and rescue. And I'm going to share my screen. It looks like Commodore, you need to enable it again.
Commodore Hirschfield, could you please assist in allowing Mr. Powell to share his screen? Commodore Hirschfield?
I'm not sure Commodore Hirschfield's with us right now.
That's okay. I could talk through it.
Please, thank you.
So first, I just want to introduce our ADSOs. We have Mike Domino. He's our ADSO for training. He's a former DSO AV and is a critical asset with the experience he brings as an AUX-Air command pilot and certified flight instructor. Gary Bean is our facility inspector. He's been in the program for several years. Matt Smith is inland. He is our scheduler and is responsible for the Arizona and Utah detach. Richard Callan is also inland and is in charge of materials. He's responsible for the Nevada detach. Cherie Van Duzer is another certified flight instructor who is our soon-to-be pilot examiner and is in charge of the San Diego detach. Gene Corney is also a flight examiner that needs to be recertified. Greg Fucci, a former ADSO, will be responsible for the LAOC detach and the Point Mugu detach. So we put together a charter and a list of action items with important questions that need to be answered. These questions will assist us in completing the tactical plan we are calling the business requirement document. So an email went out, Chris sent out an email yesterday with a list of those questions with a copy of the charter. If you did not receive a copy of it, I'd be happy to send it to you. We do need to schedule a follow-up meeting to complete the gap analysis and SWOT analysis to determine how we can best serve the Coast Guard. So I'm just going to take a minute just to walk through the major sections of the charter. I'm not going to go into explicit detail, but just to give you an idea of what the charter is all about. Okay, so we have the project overview, and again, you'll be able to read through the details. We start out with the project overview. We talk about cost savings. For example, to operate an aircraft, these numbers are a little old, but it gives you an idea of the ratio. To operate a helicopter, we're looking at about, at the lowest level, $8,600 an hour versus $88 an hour to operate a Cessna 172. It's a big difference. We have all the stakeholders listed. We have our scope, what we identified as in scope, and we have items that are identified as out of scope as future possibilities. We listed the assumptions, we listed any milestones. We've got a lot of resources that are ready to go that we could start getting certified and back up to par. Those are listed as well. Communication plans listed. And that pretty much covers the charter. And the slide presentation I was going to share, I just had a breakdown of the organization, an overview of the patrols and where we patrol, a list of the costs and our resources. Does anyone have any questions?
David, thank you. We will work to post the charter and his brief introduction PowerPoint on the website for the auxiliary for D11. So if anyone cares to view it, they can. The document was forwarded to the district captains. If you could please disseminate that through your division commanders so we can get it down to the deck plate so there's transparency and visibility into our air operations program. And we will be asking for everyone's future assistance. But I just really wanted to commend David and all of the ADSOs for their assistance in compiling all this work very early in the year to ensure we have a successful 2021 and 2022. Thank you. Mr. Ebel, that is all for DDC Responsor.
Thank you very much, Chris, and thank you very much to your DSOs. Next up is prevention. Our DDC for prevention is Chris Mather. Unfortunately, Chris can't be with us today. He's ill, and so what I am going to do is I will be doing the introductions of his DSOs for him. And so please, DSOs, when I introduce you, don't forget to introduce your ADSOs and give us a brief report of what's going on in your area. First up, Rudy Lopez, DSO Public Affairs.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, sir. I'm privileged to take over this DSO PA position, and in my expertise throughout my career, that's kind of led me the way to the PA program. I currently have 4 ADSOs assigned to me. Richard Weiss, who's out of 6'3", he's also the COSTI operator and instructor. I have Diane Wayman, who's a Hyman grit out of a 6'8". I have Don Miller out of 5'5", and Jennifer Good out of 10'3". We are currently putting together a program as if COVID had lifted. We're basically preparing for all the events that we've done, using 2019 as a platform to get us to the events that we've done in the past, and trying to be innovative with new ideas. Recently, Deborah Cordone, the DSO PA out of the 13th district, put on a Instagram auxiliary takeover, which was quite impressive. We'll be reaching out to her to see what she learned from that, so we can possibly use our social media in the meantime to promote all that we can, starting with boating safety and everything else that comes with that. And lastly, we're setting up a better communication system between the ADSOs and the SOs and the FSOs with regard to PA. We're looking forward to seeing where we can collectively put the ideas together and go forward with that. That's pretty much it in a nutshell, and I'm looking forward to the challenges that 2021 brings us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Rudy. Next up for our DSO for Marine Safety, Debbie Johnson.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Ebel. I appreciate it. I'm really sorry that Chris couldn't be here. He's going to become my resident expert for merging MS, MEP issues and OXData 2, because there are some very interesting questions that have arisen. So in the meantime, marine safety and environmental protection programs in the auxiliary support the Coast Guard prevention missions, as well as some that are designated to the auxiliary to complete. These include both inspected and uninspected commercial vessel exams, port and facility activities such as container and facility inspections, marine safety and environmental protection outreach such as America's Waterway Watch and Sea Partners, and the marine safety training program for the Marine Safety Training Ribbon, the Marine Safety Insignia, and 24 qualifications, 2 of which are auxiliary only. It also includes training for all marine safety staff officers from ADSOs to SOs and FSOs MS. The goal of these programs is to assist the U.S. Coast Guard in completing their missions by providing trained auxiliary members who hold qualifications to educate the general public about marine safety and environmental protection, and to train auxiliary members to run those outreach programs that do not require qualifications other than background knowledge. During the pandemic stand down, the district marine safety staff has been working one-on-one to help train members in qualifications that can be done virtually, to train new staff officers and provide resources for virtual public outreach as well as virtual member training. I have a staff of 4 ADSOs, 2 of whom are geographic. Jim Haas is the ADSO for Sector LALB, and Tony Sotel is the ADSO for Sector San Diego. We also have an ADSO for Outreach, who's Paul Stein. He's located in Division 1. And we have an ADSO for Uninspected Passenger Vessel Programs, Steve Rosenberg, and he does all of the training for the entire district for UPV examiners. In 2021, we hope to continue training members virtually until on-the-job training can be done to complete qualifications that require missions outside the home. We hope to provide virtual training for those qualifications that do not require such missions to complete. And we're updating and upgrading our training and other resources, many of which will be posted to the website. We'll work with the ASCs for both sectors to address the needs found in the gap analysis, and we have the current information from the latest gap analysis for 2019. We have a list of qualifications that both sectors would like to see filled by more trained auxiliarists, and those will be the first that we attempt to work on once the stand down is lifted and we can go back to on-the-job training. So we're working with the ADSOs to make sure that we can meet sector needs in marine safety and environmental protection so that we are basically ready to assist as needed through augmentation once the stand down is lifted. I'd like to say a thank you to my entire ADSO staff. We've been together for a number of years. That makes for really good continuity of teamwork in a program that is constantly changing. I send emails and memos to myself from my national hat, which is in charge of communication and education, which houses all of the training and the materials that we use in marine safety and environmental protection. So it's nice to have the national input that we can put to work in our district for the benefit not only of our auxiliary members, but also for the general public and ultimately our Coast Guard customers. I would like to thank very much Leslie Pelosi, who endlessly answers questions for information about what's going on with some of our members' qualifications and other data as asked and needed. And again, I would like to thank Chris Mather in advance for all the help he's going to give us slotting MSMEP hours and codes into Oxdata 2 as we try to navigate that new system. That's about where we're at in marine safety, environmental protection, other than to say we're all very, very anxious to get back to work, get outdoors, breathe some of that seaside air or the mountain and inland lake air and get back to work. Thank you.
Debbie, thank you very much for that very comprehensive report. And I believe the rest of us can't wait to get out there and breathe that sea air and mountain air. Next up, DSO of Navigation Systems, Ken Clements. Ken, please introduce any ADSOs you may have and provide us with a brief report. Ken? You need to unmute, Ken, if you're there.
There we go. Halfway through my report and I forgot to unmute.
It happens.
Okay, so you missed the ADSO list, but the newest member is, or you may have missed it, Harold Bodkin. It's one of my newest ones. He's replacing Richard Reinhardt, which we dearly miss. But I do have a good team so far of SONSs for like Division 1. That would be Patrick Carlson. Division 5, Sal Gonzalez. 6, well, that's me. I don't know how reliable I am. Division 7, William or Bill Wicks. Division 9, Bob Lamort. Division 10, Karen Chapman. And Division 12, Nick Ronagon. I have not been able to locate who my SONSs are for Divisions 4 and 11, so I'll be having conversations probably with division commanders regarding that. Little bit of what we've got planned for the future. Hopefully, our biggest plan is to get rid of COVID-19. And if we can't do that, we've got some other, probably we'll bring out the heavy artillery. But I want to thank also a couple of people, a couple of good gentlemen that we've got working with me and the rest of the team. And that would be Mike Salzman. He's a retired CPO, and he and Mike Hay, who's the Payton administrator for Department of Waterways Management up in Alameda Island. And they're the ones that are helping me with the observer worksheets, getting those out to the divisions. And that's the core of getting the information, the fresh information, the newest Paytons, changes in the bridges and everything else. And then, so we're in the process of doing that. They'll begin receiving the observers worksheets and the bridge survey forms this weekend. Some opted to go with soft copies via email. Others would prefer hard copies. Some want both, and we're going to accommodate them. Future plans, like I said, hopefully we can start patrolling on boats, because that's actually how Paytons are done. But if we can't get that done, we can revert back to the My 3 Paytons, which we did in 2020. We can carry that on for 2021, but it's not part of the program now. We're going to try and go back to the way we've always done NS. And that's where we get a crew on a boat and some qualified AVs, that's ATON verifiers, and we actually get the job done there. If we can't do that, the future plans would be reverting to, like I said, something creative where we're doing shore patrols, but that would be Paytons and bridges that are close. And then something else we might consider is PWCs, trained PWCs that are actually ATON verifiers, and we have some of those. And then maybe small boats. And then if we really have to get creative, I'm kicking around an idea. I've got no authority to do this and no blessings from higher up, but I'm looking into using EIS drones with cameras, GPSs, and to try to verify Paytons that are a little bit too far for shore patrol. But that would be if it's totally necessary, and if we get more of the same from 2020 insofar as manning boats and getting the job done. Any questions? That's pretty much my future and where we are now.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate your report.
Thank you.
Next up, our District Staff Officer for Public Education, Suzanne White. Suzanne, if you would introduce any ADSOs that you have and provide us a brief report.
Thank you. It's nice to see everybody safe and happy. My ADSOs are pretty much staying the same. It would be Doug Houle for Inland, where divisions 1, 9, and 10, and Michael Beck for divisions 7, 12, and 4. I am taking over as ADSO once again for divisions 6, 5, and 11. I'm also being the SO for division 10 and the FSO for flotilla 10-7. So I'm busy. Just a quick report on how things have been going. It's been pretty weak for the last year, and I don't pass the buck on to anyone else. But I know I've been busy with some of the national courses that are going on. And one of the things that I think everybody would be interested in as far as getting a PE going on a virtual basis has been on the eDirectorate. The virtual basis, they've done a really good job of setting up how-to classes and webinars to take to a flotilla meeting, virtual or not. I'll be glad to talk to anybody.
No message.
Okay, no, I have no message. So trying to get the divisions back in on this. I know California Division 6 has been really good about sending reports, though they make plans and it depends on whether they're shut down or not. They've been trying awfully hard, and kudos to them. I wish I could say the same for some of the other divisions. I know inland here in Arizona, since we do not have the requirement for a boating class, I just got the latest numbers of what actually happened last year as far as damage to vessels and deaths, and it was pretty ugly. I know the damage to vessels went up by 100% to way over $1 million, just in Arizona alone. So we've had quite a, just here in inland, we've had quite a, the minute they shut us down, everybody ran to a boat dealer or to an RV dealer and bought one or both. So this has been a busy place, and we're looking forward to getting back on the water and helping out. So that's about it as far as my future. My number one objective right now is to get the various flotillas and divisions going into back into virtual PE, and it's not just basic BS&S anymore. They've pretty much rewritten everything for pretty much every public education course that the auxiliary offers to the public. So thank you for your time.
Suzanne, thank you very much. Next up, actually, I just want to give a reminder to everybody, if you are a DSO and have already presented your report, don't forget to silence your mic, and you can turn off your camera if you like, please. Thank you. Next up, our DSO PV, Justin Peck, program visits.
Thank you, Rick. This is my first year in the seat. So currently I have no ADSOs in place, but I'm going to be leaning heavily on the division SOPVs. The Q1 objectives is to basically get out there and get as much information on how their programs are doing in the local areas. And I have plans on heat mapping where we are currently. We'll see if that actually goes the plan and actually get on a map where we're covering in here in 11 Southern. But the number one priority though in Q1 is to get more awareness and action around getting paddlecraft stickers out to the paddlecraft public. I know we still have a lot of kayaks showing up without any identification on it. That's a huge hot button item for myself, working with National with paddlecraft. So I want to make sure that that's getting out there first and foremost, and we'll figure out how to get that out to all of the flotillas so they can start handing out paddlecraft stickers as they're starting to talk to people as we start to open up. And like I said, data collection mode Q1, and then paddlecraft stickers is a priority, like I said, and more to come throughout the year. And a report.
All right, Justin, thank you very much. Next up, our DSO vessel examinations, Martin Buncher.
Thank you, Mr. Beadle. My DSO staff was very strong and active, and many of them wear many different hats. Michael Mushabad handles my divisions 4 and 5. Heinz Ladowski, divisions 9 and 10. Mitchell Malachowski, 1, 6, and 11, and Robert Hamming, divisions 7 and 12. As I said, these guys are wearing many different hats, and they're really very strong in terms of assisting me and getting information up the chain to me when they have questions that they can't answer, and passing that information back down to handle them. As you know, vessel exams have been greatly reduced. In phase two now, we have the opportunity to go out and do some. But of course, there are many problems and questions about how and when to do vessel exams coming up the chain from vessel examiners, and they're being handled well, but it's on a piecemeal basis. The good news is that the VEs are still, for the most part, very eager to deal with the restrictions and wait for them to end so they can get back out into the field. Decals have been received and the distribution has taken place. I'm getting good communications from all divisions except one, and I'm looking into that personally now to take care of it. Policies and instructions are being passed down to the ADSOVEs and them to the SOVEs where they exist. Some smaller flotillas don't have them, but other flotilla staff are standing in. There is a problem understanding both the regulations and preparing the forms. We get continued questions as to why the forms don't get through faster. We, of course, give the explanation and explain how Dyrox is flooded and has certain limited capabilities to pass through things on a more timely basis, and trying to get the VEs to understand, why we can't open the floodgates for them to let them go out. There's some confusion about the bubble concept, and we're getting questions about that, particularly when it gets down to just using 2 members in a bubble. I guess there's a little lack of clarity in the way that it's stated, but we're clearing that up. There was one question about, for example, can a recreational vessel owner be in the bubble? So that would be the 2 men to go do the bubble and exam. Unfortunately, we have at least 1 and possibly 2 flotillas that are and divisions that are not inclined to do exams. They have opted to wait until they can get their vaccinations to go out and risk exposure. The mission guidance has been passed down, but it doesn't seem to get from the SOVEs to the FSOVEs and then finally to the VEs. So we get questions up the chain about it, particularly when the mission requests are not coming back. But again, we have the plausible and accepted explanations for all of that, thanks to our good communications chain. There were last year a hard group of VEs who ran out the gate and followed proper procedures and PPE guidelines, and they got some VEs done. But unfortunately, this year in our district, we have not, to my knowledge, accomplished even 1 vessel exam. There seem to be about 35 active examiners in January, but I'm looking forward to hopefully clearing up some of the confusion and clarifying things to aid them and get them out into the field. There is a real strong need to educate the ADSOVEs and the SOVEs on the new OPFAC research procedures, and I'm working with Mr. Mather to become sufficiently proficient in that so that I can offer virtual classes to teach the process to my ADSOVEs and also have the SOVEs present at that meeting. I'm going to discuss with the officers how and where we need to help reluctant vessel examiners to conduct exams and feel more comfortable about doing them in terms of being protected as well as being proficient at it. Also now, I've just received word yesterday that the Parks and Recreation Department is still asking for moored vessel owners to produce decals. And I'll be calling them as well as San Diego Mission Mooring Company to deal with that issue. My guess is that boating activity is reduced not only by COVID, but by winter weather. So there may be less demand for decals now, but as the vaccinations distribution pick up by mid-year, we'll be facing a lot of pressure as hopefully boaters are returning to the water for the summer. And I hope to have our VEs ready to respond by that time in a more efficient and easy manner for them. In conjunction with that plan, I know Joe Reichel, the DBCVE, is planning a virtual workshop. I'll be contacting and coordinating with him to see how it might be recorded and offered to the other divisions with the district. So those are my plans. Really, the best thing about all of this is that there's a lot of energy that's just been waiting to be released, and people are accepting and understanding the situation. The questions and the problems are reaching me, and we are dealing with them and hope to be ready when the gate opens up and we can get more people into the field. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Next up, our ADSO Ox Scout is Dale Zimmerman. I'm not sure Dale is with us today. I don't see him on our participants list. Dale? Okay, hearing nothing. Next up is our DSO Ox LWO. That would be Randy Wesson. Randy?
Good morning, everybody. Thanks, Rick. Most of you probably haven't heard of our program. The program is called the Auxiliary Life Jacket Wear Observation, and that's abbreviated AUXLWO. Hopefully we can get rid of the AUX and shorten it up a little bit. Because it's so new to most people, I'm going to give you a little overview of the basis of the whole program. For approximately 20 years, the Coast Guard has been conducting across the country surveys regarding recreational boaters' life jacket wearing habits. For most of that time, the surveys were conducted by civilians. The studies have been funded by grants from the Coast Guard and were managed by the JSI company, who continues in that role. In 2015, the auxiliary was asked to conduct some of the surveys in a number of sites across the country. They thought it would save money, and it has been saving a lot of money. At that time, D11 was asked to take over the study in the San Diego area, and we were assigned 5 sites. In 2017, when asked, D11 South agreed to take on an additional 4 sites in Arizona, and recently we added 1 more. In 2018, the program officially became the Auxiliary Life Jacket Wear Observation, which is quite a mouthful. At the same time, the following were established: a personal qualification standard, a chain of leadership in the V directory, district staff officer positions, and a standard operating procedure. The overall goal of the program is to provide a national report to federal and state authorities to assist them in the decision-making progress of regulating the wearing of life jackets. After a brief training program, 2-person teams go to pre-selected sites and observe the recreational boaters. This is done on a busy summer weekend days for a period of 4 hours, or until 300 vessels are recorded, whichever comes first. Observations are made at the same exact location each year, ideally by the same observers. Utilizing stabilizing binoculars and other equipment, team members make and record observations. Then they use computer data sheets like Scantrons to record data on a number of characteristics. Observers rotate between observation and notation because it gets kind of tedious if you try and stick with it for a long period of time without rotating. Data collected on the site includes air and water temperatures, air speed, general weather conditions, sea state, and boating situations such as racing activities, law enforcement patrolling, etc., and time of day. Data are collected on recreational vessels that pass by and on boater habits. Additionally, data are gathered on vessels, including types, sizes, propulsion, and the activity of the occupants. For example, were they fishing or intent to fish, skiing or diving, etc. After the vessel data, we direct our attention to the use of life jackets, recording number of people by age groups and gender, and the same information about the coxswain. The last step is to note the use and types of life jackets. Currently, our program covers 5 sites in San Diego County and 5 along the Colorado River. There are 2 area teams, one for San Diego and the other for Arizona and Nevada. Right now, we have 19 observers on the team. Individual teams consist of 2 members that conduct the observation of the same site each year. I think I might have said that already. We're also contemplating expanding the program into other areas. And so we're thinking about the LA area, Orange County, and further north than LA. After the observations have been made, the team reviews the data for consistency, explains odd observations, and submits them to the company that manages the observations. After analyzing the data, the JSI company writes a report which is distributed to Congress and state regulators. New observers will be taken on as positions open up. They will have to complete the PQS. The PQS is straightforward, requiring satisfactory participation in 2 annual observations and participating in any required training. The program is adding another project that we'll be working on, which probably will require additional staffing, primarily Orange County, LA, and north. Though we are not looking for new people yet, initially the project will have us probably looking for new sites at lakes, bays, and harbors. Questions have arisen if there are awards for this program. Currently, there are no specific awards nor ribbons. However, points may be accumulated in this program that will count towards the recreational boating safety specialist device. On occasion in recent years, observers have earned the meritorious team commendation for their efforts, primarily because we saved the Coast Guard so much money. There are 2 ADSOs currently. I'll probably need a 3rd one, or maybe even a 4th one for those areas north of San Diego. There are 2 ADSOs basically based on location. Dave Esparza for Arizona and Martin Mendoza for San Diego. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate that report. Next up, we have our logistics area, and wouldn't you know, our DDC logistics is Randy Wesson. So Randy, if you would introduce your logistics team, ask them to provide a brief report, Randy.
Brief report. I'm not giving them permission to make their reports as long as mine. I guess you couldn't get enough of me, so I am here again. Logistics Directorate, we have Norm Bundeck first. His bio is, he's been in the auxiliary for 15 years. He has spent 2 years in every elected office through DCAP. He has given lighthouse tours at Point Hueneme for 8 years and missed last year for some reason, and probably this year for the same reason. I think we could call that COVID and phase 2 guidelines. Norm started in staff positions last year as DDCP, and this year as DSO, HR, and Commodore's aide. Norm, would you give us a little talk about what you've been doing?
Great. Okay. Yeah, my goals for this year are to have all 9 districts have experienced DSO HRs. As of today, 2 divisions do not have any appointed. The division commanders have been contacted to make qualified appointments as soon as possible. In the interim, the SOHRs will be taken over by the division commanders until they can appoint someone. Of the 47 flotillas, we only have 42 FSOHRs. So that means 5 flotillas do not have an FSOHR, which need immediate attention since they're involved in the direct processing of members. And they're generally the first contact. So we need a well-trained HR staff presence to put our best foot forward for new member candidates. I have one ADSO, Paul Heller, who is in the South Bay area. He's also in charge of the AIMS program, and the AIMS program is our tracking method and new member lead distribution from the National Advertising Program. But unfortunately, the AIMS program has been down for the last month or two. I have been told that hopefully by the end of the month, it might be back up again. Leads that would normally be coming through the HR chain will be coming either directly through DIROX or through me down to the different divisions and their SOs. I would like to also make sure that, or ask if I could be a guest at the different division commander meetings to be held in February and in March. I'd like to be sure that all the information that FC should have, as well as the FSOs and the SOs in an area. So basically, that's my short report. Thank you.
Thank you, Norm. Next up is Felix Lopez. He's our DSO DV. Felix was an original member of the Auxiliary Diversity Research Group. Additionally, he was a council member for the Auxiliary to the U.S. Coast Guard Diversity Advisory Council and a council member for the AUX to the Commandant's Leadership Excellence Diversity Advisory Council. And he attended the National Diversity Summit representing the Auxiliary. He has served as FSO DV, SO DV, and DSO DV. He was a speaker at the Asia Pacific Search and Rescue Maritime Safety and Environmental Protection Conference in Manila. He is a certified interpreter in Filipino and Tagalog language by the AUX Interpreter Corps and was an interpreter during the Hurricane Katrina oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. He also did advertisements for the U.S. Coast Guard Investigative Service. Felix, you're up.
Good morning, fellow shipmates and shoremates. I would like to introduce my ADSO. The ADSO Diversity for North is Ivan Mendoza, who is in charge of divisions 4, 5, 7, and 12. At the same time, I would like to inform you that Ivan has contracted the COVID-19 virus a couple of weeks ago, but now thank you, Lord, he's now back to normal and he started working, I think, yesterday. And then I have a new addition for ADSO South, who will be handling divisions 1, 6, 9, 10, and 11, Denver Draver. And also I will be interviewing a possible, the ADSO social media on Monday. So I'm starting to build up the whole team right now. But the good thing last year, just to inform you, we did pretty good on our NACO 3-Star Award applications. We did from 10 in 2018 to 29. We are number 3 in the whole nation as far as the increase of new awardees. Now, our projects, we have different projects that we're trying to work on, but out of the 4, we had 2 that was successful. The diversity moment that was being discussed every time they have a meeting with the flotillas or divisions. And then number 2 is the Diversity Corner Facebook page, which is if you have a Facebook page, you can go to Diversity Corner and you can see a lot of new pictures, new information about diversity. Right now, our goal also is to set up a quarterly newsletter so that we can feature flotillas and divisions that are doing a lot of diversity activities. And then also we are also trying to work on recognizing a diversity personality or diversity auxiliaries of the quarter, which was already been approved before, but we cannot find a good or suitable awardee. And the certificate will be signed by the Commodore, the district Commodore. So I don't have anything to do with it. But another thing also that we did was we gave a lot of, as an incentive, we are giving out to the top, to the different flotillas and divisions that are that's achieved 100% division and 2 straight NACO 3-star award for the flotillas. Just to mention, we are giving out Diversity Challenge coin to them, coming from the funding is coming from yours truly. And right now, we have 3 divisions last year who got it, Division 6, 7, and 9. And then we have other flotillas also, 6 flotillas that are been awarded. Now, I hope, and we're trying to work on, even with this particular situation, the pandemic, that we're trying to at least go over what we've achieved last year. Probably from 29, we'll go more than that. And then at the same time, we'll try to work out that we can also reach at least number 2 in the whole nation. And as of this moment, there are 2 flotillas has already been approved and recognized by National Diversity Directorate of the NACO 3-star awards. That's 1111 and 0606. So that's about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Felix. Next up is Marlene Williams, DSO FS. Marlene is a Coast Guard veteran, is married to a retired Coast Guard officer with an active duty Coast Guard daughter and son-in-law. She thinks the Coast Guard mission is important. That's why she has so many people in the family related to it, and enjoys being a force multiplier as an auxiliarist. As an Aux FS, she worked many hours on cutters, even completing a trip to the Arctic Circle on an icebreaker, cooking with her daughter. She has completed the initiation for the realm of the Arctic Circle, and be careful around her because she also received the domain of the Golden Dragon. She supports the district as the DSO FS, Division 1 as SOSR, and as a newly elected flotilla commander. She enjoys the other members that she volunteers with and looks forward to a year that is more eventful than 2020. Marlene?
Hello. Well, my report will not be. Am I there?
Yes.
Okay. So unfortunately, everything the food service members take care of has been on stand down, and so activity has been minimal, to say the least. And that's very frustrating because, I mean, I myself had 1,500 operational hours in 2019. So we're a little frustrated, as everybody else is. Currently, we're just trying to maintain our status, so that our currencies, so that when we get started, we're all eligible to continue cooking. And we would like to recruit more people. And one of my goals is to try to figure out how to get more educational opportunities in San Diego. Since there's no galley and very few cutters, there aren't very many opportunities, but we do have people who would like to join the FS program. And that's, unfortunately, that's about it. We're just ready and anxious to get going again.
Randy, you're muted.
Hi, sorry about that. Next up is Chris Mather, DSO Information Services. He asked me to say a little bit about his program. He has been in IS for about 4 years as FSO and SO and now DSO. He has served as a DIROX assistant. He attended the only in-person Train the Trainer Oxdata 2 class in Virginia last March. He conducted a district-wide training and support for AD2 since the transition in April. He has 10 years in the Ox, is a coxswain, VE, IT, and TCO. He wanted to mention about the transition from legacy AD to AD2. They concentrated on training the IS team initially, then expanded to all members, including 2 detailed sessions in December with over 100 members attending. The IS goal going into 2021 is outreach to the regular members. Statistics show that they have 20% of our members who have entered activities using the new system, which is above the national average of 14%. We want to increase this substantially through outreach and continued training. And that's it for him. Hope Chris gets better soon. Next up is DSO MA Desiree DeLizer. She has been in the Ox for 10 years and held several positions: FSO, PE, PA, MT, FN, IS, and FC. She was recruited into the Ox while taking a sailing skills class, and she was learning to sail. As she was learning to sail, she was invited to crew on several transatlantic passages: Annapolis to Bermuda, Bahamas, BVI, Puerto Rico, Turks and Caicos. It was a very exciting time for her. Needless to say, she is boat crew qualified. Her focus as DSO MA is to grow the Ox Thrift program, the district's used uniform program, make it more visible and accessible. Currently, there is no adequate storage space for the great amount of merchandise in the inventory. So she is looking for free retail space to display and store our uniforms and accessories. If you know of anyone who may be able to help out with that, please have them contact her. Please pass the word around too. Desiree, you're up.
Yes, thank you. So the materials mission, I find, is primarily a member service. And so with that in mind, I'm hoping that the team, the SO team, will keep that in mind and be proactive in working with all the other staff and leadership, including HR. It's very, very important to help the members find the resources that they need, for the boating safety materials and the PE materials, and how to get to order official stationery, and also follow the rules regarding all this. So to navigate this it's kind of a maze, and sometimes very difficult to find. So therefore, I'm hoping that the SO leadership will be proactive and reach out to the other staff members and help them through that. Besides helping the SOs and FSOs, helping them to find the materials, they also have a responsibility of PPE documentation and letting them know the procurement process. Some flotillas choose to have operations deal with this, but it also is a materials a job to do, so to keep that in mind. The district has the used uniform program, the Ox Thrift, and so I'm very excited to have 4 very committed and enthusiastic ADSO, John Carroll, Rick Weiss, Susan Velati, and Bill French, who are very interested in developing and growing the program, and because it has helped many new members to initially purchase their uniforms at a fraction of the cost. So, so the goal is to together maintain a robust materials program and to continue to serve the needs of the members. And so therefore we are planning to train the SOs and FSOs and hopefully be able to put together a Zoom workshop in March. And with the help of the ADSOs, continue to manage the Ox Thrift program. Because of the stand down and because of the fact that our inventory is on base LALB, needless to say, that activity has kind of been curbed for the last year or so. So I'm looking forward to working with my team to have a more productive year. Thanks.
Thank you, Desiree. Next up is DSO MT, Paul Saba. Paul has been in the auxiliary since he was a cadet at SUNY, SUNY Maritime College, pursuing a commission in the Coast Guard, and that was around 1996. He has served as a flotilla commander, flotilla division staff officer, branch chief, division chief, and now recently started serving as the deputy director of the V Directorate at National. He is an avid mariner with a passion for professional development. His hobbies are sailing and flying. Paul has assumed the duties as the DSO MT and looks forward to developing a mentorship program that develops new members to the auxiliary. He wants to establish training programs that encourage the development of the various professional areas of public education, vessel exams, marine dealer visits, boat crew, and communication. Additionally, he wants to work with local folks to develop leadership development skills that improve the overall elected leaders of our district. He holds the OXOP qualification along with his wings, the RBS device, and several other awards. He looks forward to an exciting 2021, and we'll be looking forward to recruiting a team of ADSOs that will improve our program moving forward. Paul, you're on.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Randy. I appreciate it. You actually did most of my report for me, so I will keep this as brief as I possibly can so we can get this moving on. And I see a lot of folks are smiling at this point. So first off, like I said, thanks for the honor of being the first time to hold a position at the district level. I've been at National, Division, and Flotilla for years. I have one ADSO currently at this point, Christopher Rosario, that is helping me work up the Operations Training Working Group. And he's been currently charged with completing ops training SWOT analysis for our MT needs within the district, focusing on getting new members trained who come in onboarded and getting them operational. And the big thing we like to look at is we think that members should be, competent VEs, PVs, PEs, or else trained in the basics of marine safety in concert with being boat crews, since the boat crews are the face of the auxiliary and are constantly in contact with the public. So it's important for them to know that information and be capable of passing all that information when they do contacts out on the water. We're going to be focusing on getting members BQ'd. As of the last report I got from DIROX, we have 97 folks within the district that are still AP, several of them going back 2-3 years. That shows that we have a problem with getting our onboarding process set up where we're getting our members in the auxiliary and trained to the BQ level. So I'm going to be working with my staff officer MTs. They've already started getting emails from me identifying what do they need to do to complete their member onboarding process to get those individuals BQ'd. So my goal is to get that down, that list dramatically dramatically down to a smaller number, more reasonable for the number of members we bring in on board. I'm going to start working in the coming weeks to establish a mentorship program and see how flotillas work that mentorship program, so that those members come in the door and complete their MT training program. And then finally, we want to work on utilizing this current situation where we can't be as out in the field, but we still have members that want to do things in the auxiliary. So there's nothing better than getting our leadership training and professional development raised. We need to focus on our division and flotilla leaders, are, on the floor, out in the field type of leaders that are getting those members in, having them go through programs like OXLAMs and AMLOC, especially now since those opportunities are going to be virtual, allowing a lot of opportunities for members to take these courses that instead of having to travel to take those courses. And then again, we're going to start working on trying to develop membership and professional development, going through the leadership professional development level 1, 2, and 3 for our district and division staff. With that being said, end of report.
Thank you, Paul. Next up is DSO PV Publications, Sydney Hay. Sydney has been in the Aux for 6 years. In her real life, she owns a public affairs consulting firm and represents clients in education, law enforcement, and mining. In addition to that, she is the president and CEO of a mining industry association. In the auxiliary, she is the outgoing flotilla commander of the Metro Phoenix Flotilla and served as its vice commander. She is TCO and has been an instructor and VE. Currently, she is branch chief for editorial services in the B Directorate, where she is engaged in the production of the auxiliary magazine, RVS Job 1. One of the more interesting things about her is that she has extensive television and radio experience, having in the past been a radio talk show host for many years and a regular on an ABC television show.
Wow, Randy, thank you for that introduction. I didn't send you one, so I appreciate that very much, Randy. I will be very brief. The bad news is I was only successful in completing 2 newsletters last year, so I apologize to all of you for that. And my goal is to do better this year. And hopefully when everybody gets our bubbles all together, then I'll have a lot more to write about. And I want to write about all the great things that are coming ahead for this year, looking forward to it. I do have an ADSO. His name is Doug Bradford. He continues as ADSO from last year. He is awesome at timely responses and editing and approving of newsletters down the line. I'm grateful to him for that. So today, in listening to these great DSO reports, I'm getting story ideas that if you want to just send me the report you gave, I can turn it into an article, send it back to you for your approval. And I think we've got some great content. I was intrigued by David Powell's PowerPoint that I want to see about aviation, because that sounded like some exciting things coming, but all the rest of you have exciting things too that I want to write about. So when you get out there, I want action photos. I've used up every photo for the last 3 years and trying to make them work and be current. So I'm kind of out. So I need action photos. I need everybody that hasn't sent me a paragraph about why I joined the auxiliary. Those are great. Those are so interesting. Those are going to be important because we've got that feature in the newsletter now. So I need those story ideas. And I think, yeah, that's my report. And I'm grateful for the leadership on this Zoom meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. Next up, and I don't think he's around right now, is DSOCS, Commodore Chris Harshfield. Because everybody knows him and what he does, he doesn't need a bio. Chris, if you're there,
yep.
Commodore, please speak up.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. I didn't give you a bio, Randy, because I knew I needed to make up some time here. So anyway, thank you. I have taken over the district website this year. but I need to give a big shout out and thank you to Chuck Hutchings, which took our old website and completely revamped it to a new website. Tyler Tong is my other ADSO. He was instrumental in helping Chuck get everything caught up. And that it literally took us a year to get everything moved over. So I'm completely grateful and thankful to Chuck and Tyler for getting that done. On that, I need every DSO to go to the district website. There is a tab called Staff Departments. Every department has their own page. That is your page. You need to go through, review it, update it, change it. The CS department is not responsible for content. That is your responsibility. So if it's wrong on the website, it's because you haven't fixed it. So I need every DSO to go to the district website, look over their department, make changes. Marlene Williams, I sent her an email the other day. She sent me a picture. I updated it. So food service is up to date. Send it to me. It usually takes less than a day for me to make the changes. Other than that, all of our reporting formats, officer reports, ADSO or DSO, DDC reports, assignment to duty, everything for phase 2 is on the district website. Please, on the AD or the assignment to duty and anything with COVID or phase 2 release, do not bookmark it. Those items move constantly, get changed, updated and that, and you go back to your bookmark and you're submitting a form for phase 1 when we're in phase 2. So please, all of the information is on the district website. Use the links in the website, and that'll keep the forms up to date. I had a change on the assignment to duty form this morning that I had to add another category in. So that's where you need to go to get all the information. Again, email me with any changes that you have, and I will get your page updated. Other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you, Commodore.
Thank you.
Good job. And that's it for logistics. Thank you.
Randy, thank you very much. And thank you very much to all of our DDCs and our DSOs. You all gave some very, very fine reports and were very time conscious. And I appreciate that very much. Commodore Geiger, do you have any words before we take our break?
Thank you, Rick, and thank you, staff officers, for those excellent reports. This would be a good opportunity for us to take our lunch break. Does anyone feel they need any more than 30 minutes? If not, Commodore Harshfield, could you set the timer for 30 minutes from now?
Yep.
Three-minute warning, get back to your seats.
Hello, Leslie.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How was Pahrump?
It's nice.
Yeah, good.
Yep, I'm liking it.
And you know, that's the important thing.
Good afternoon. Hello, Rick.
Hello, sir. Do you want me to touch on those ground rules really quick before we get started?
If you think so. We are down 5 members from when we took our break. Not sure who they are, so I'm mostly concerned about the board, so I'm going to have Patrick do a quick roll call. We planned on doing that anyway, so.
You ready to go with that roll call, Commodore?
Let's see, is the timer off?
We've got 1 minute.
All right, 1 minute. Yeah, Patrick, in 1 minute, go ahead and start with the roll call.
Yes, sir.
Patrick, it's Rod Donahue.
Hey, Rod.
I'm not sure yet if Gary Peterson is with us quite yet. So it probably will be Robert Eastlis again as the vice for Division 1.
Thank you, sir.
Just a heads up.
Patrick, also for Division 4, if Jim Peterson's not on the line, it'd be Quay Fo.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, I'm showing 1:16 on the time.
Yeah, I think you go ahead and start.
Yes, sir. District Commodore Geiger.
Present.
District Chief of Staff Ebel.
Present.
District Captain LALB North Fiamingo.
You're muted, Mike.
Muted, Mike. District Captain, there he is. District Captain LALB South Bozarth.
Present.
District Captain San Diego Inland Donahoe.
Inland. Present.
Works for me. Immediate Past Commodore Harshfield.
Present.
Directory of Auxiliary Commander Keenan.
Present.
OTO Devoy. Division Commander 1 Peterson.
Mr. Eastlis may be there for us.
Vice Division Commander Eastlis.
Present.
Vice Division Commander Foe.
Present.
Thank you. Division Commander 5 Brown.
Present.
Division Commander 6 Palmer.
Present.
Division Commander 7 Cortez.
Present.
Division Commander 9 Walker.
Present.
Thank you. Division Commander 10 Smith.
Present.
Division Commander 11 Ziegler. I believe Vice. Oh, present. Good. Thank you. Division Commander 12 Scott.
Present.
And President PDCA. That concludes the roll call.
Thank you, Patrick. At this time, Commander Keenan will swear in our officers. I don't believe anybody has been sworn in. I haven't. So turn it over to Commander Keenan.
Good afternoon, everyone. So this is our first opportunity to swear in any elected and appointed leaders for this year. I will be reading it. For those that I'm swearing in, please make sure, if possible, your camera is on. I will not be asking you to rise because I don't wish to stare at anyone's belly buttons. And if your camera is on, you can remain muted because it gets very jumbled with everyone talking over, and we'll just look for lips moving. So without any further ado, all those that are being sworn in, cameras on. Here we go. You have offered your talents and services in the interest of a better Coast Guard auxiliary. The pledge you are about to take admits you to an office of greater responsibility and high honor. Along with this honor, you must be prepared to accept certain obligations as well as the administrative and supervisory responsibilities of your office. Your task is to develop the auxiliary programs to the maximum efficiency that conditions permit. You are expected to promote closer liaison between the auxiliary and local Coast Guard units, constantly reminding auxiliaries that their actions reflect not only on the auxiliary, but also on the Coast Guard. As a leader, you are charged with maintaining high standards in all auxiliary programs and activities, never compromising honesty and integrity. With the full realization of the demands of your office in terms of time, travel, and dedication, if you are willing to accept this honor, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Suzanne White,
do solemnly and sincerely pledge myself
solemnly and
to support the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary and its purposes, to promote its authorized activities, to properly discharge the duties of my office, and to abide by the governing policies established by the Commandant of the United States Coast Guard. Okay, congratulations and thank you all. The auxiliary and the Coast Guard would not be anything without you guys stepping up in this leadership role. So I greatly appreciate it, especially coming out of a very tough year for all of us. We hope for better, bigger things in 2021, and I appreciate your support and assistance, and I'll turn it back over to Commodore.
Thank you, Commander. We've got a few items to take care of. First of all, I believe at this point, everybody realizes we will not be having a D train this year. We are looking into some options, perhaps having some sort of an awards brunch or dinner, maybe in conjunction with our September election. But all that's up in the air. We can't make any firm plans. So we'll just revisit this again in a few months and see where we are with the pandemic. The standing rules provide that we appoint some committees at our January meeting. Well, this is as close as January as we're going to get. So we do have 4 committees, and I have selected chairman for each of these 4 committees. First of all, the D-Train Committee, Chris Harshfield will be the chairman for the D-Train Committee. And we're basically thinking about D-Train for 2022 at this point in time. The Budget Committee, Rod Donahue, has been appointed as the chairman of the Budget Committee, and he will work closely with DSO Finance on that. And I will be talking to Rod to see if he needs some other additional members on that committee. So we may be selecting some division commanders to assist with that. The Audit Committee will be chaired by Mike Fiamingo, and he will work with the auditor. And I'm not sure, but I think our auditor has been Tom Jacobsmeyer in the past. Is that correct, Tom?
Saw someone else listed as the auditor now. I hadn't heard one way or the other.
Are you available?
Sure.
Okay, roger that. Thank you.
Okay.
So the audit committee will be Mike Fiamingo, and I'll talk to Mike and see if he needs to have some more people on that committee with him. But the bottom line, I think in the past, pretty much the auditor along with the chairman pretty much did all the work. I was on that committee 1 year with Tom. So if Mike Fiamingo and needs to go in the minutes as being the auditor, or to be the chairman of the audit committee. And the awards committee will be chaired by Michael Bozart, and we will be selecting 3 members to help him with that. Perhaps at least one of those members to be physically located somewhere near the DIROC's office in case we need to be picking up awards. So Mike Bozart will be the awards committee chairman. So all of these appointments need to be noted in the minutes. All of you should have read the strategic plan, hopefully more than once, and as well as the operation plan. And they are both on the District 11 South webpage. Please refer to that periodically and note that there are milestones in the strategic plan. And we will be looking at those milestones to see as we make them as we go along. Most times they're changed several times during the next couple of years. But look at the strategic plan, look at the operations plan, and use that as guidance when you make your own tactical plans for your divisions and flotillas. Okay, PDCA. There was no election this past fall for PDCA officers for 2021. And we can only assume that's because no one is interested in running for president. The last president, I believe, moved to Alabama, someplace back there. And I don't think the vice or any other officer has indicated any interest in moving up. So if we do not have to have a PDCA, currently 9 out of 16 districts have a PDCA. And if we don't have the right person to head it up and be president, it makes no sense. Bottom line is I had DSO Legal look at the standing rules of the PDCA and the district, and we cannot by ourselves suspend the PDCA, but we can make a recommendation, and only the district commander can make that change. So with that in mind, I think we can take a vote, and if we all agree that the PDCA should be suspended, we can make that decision today and pass that information on up the chain to the district commander and see where it goes. Bill Freed, you want to weigh in on that?
Thank you, Commodore. You're correct. The authority for the PDCA comes through the district commander rather than the auxiliary side. It's because of the district's bylaws, the president of the PDCA is a voting member of the board, although without any elected members, as is today, there's no one here. The membership in the PDCA is a one-time payment that gives you a life membership. It was my recommendation that rather than disband the PDCA, rather suspend it. That way, if it resurges in years down the road because of activity of everyone that's here today, it can be reinstated, and those lifetime members that have paid their dues, that doesn't go by the wayside, and they are still members. So that would be my recommendation, is to go ahead and see if this board wants to take action to request the commander to go ahead and suspend the district commander to go ahead and suspend the PDCA until some further time when this board determines that it would be worthwhile to bring it back on board. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. With that in mind, I would be happy to entertain a motion to suspend the PDCA, followed by a discussion.
Commodore, this is Rick. I would like to make a motion to suspend. Let me rephrase that. I would like to make a motion to request that our district commander suspend the PDCA until further notice.
Can I get a second?
This is Mike Bozarth. I'll second that.
Thank you, Mike. Any discussion from any board member?
Commodore?
Rod, go ahead.
Briefly, if Mr. Freed could just explain I guess the practical difference between a suspension versus just an inactive PDCA. Is there a benefit to one versus the other? And that's my question.
Yeah, thanks, Rod. If I could, Commodore, if you disband the organization, it's got to be reinvigorated again. It's got to be reestablished again. And that reestablishment, again, the authority for that would come through the base commander, the district commander. Whereas in all those previous members that had paid this lifetime membership dues would lose that because that organization would be disbanded. A suspension, on the other hand, is more of a temporary, even though that temporary may last a year, 2 years, 5 years, however long that suspension would last, it is still an organization recognized and approved by the district commander. So through a vote of the auxiliary board to reestablish or to reactivate, the board would then be all that would be needed to request the commander to make that. And it could be done at any time. And that way, all the previous members would still be members of that board. And again, the board is past division commanders, which includes captains and of course, a commodore. So there's a great number of those within our district and will continue. But at least at this time, there doesn't seem to be a lot of activity.
Thank you, Bill. Does that answer your question, Rod?
It did. I was also wanting really more to know the difference between suspension versus simply an inactive board. In other words, business as usual. I think the concern, I guess, is that you have a board on paper that's not really doing anything, I assume.
Also, I believe the PDCA has got about $3,700 in their bank account, and Virgil can verify that. My understanding is that those funds would be transferred to the district funds. Is that correct, Bill?
That is correct, Commodore. Those do belong to district. And if you disbanded them and you didn't have any officers to take care of that, it's just better to suspend them, at least in my opinion, rather than disband.
Thank you. Any other discussion from any board member?
Commodore, can I ask a point of information?
Sure.
My question is, since the PDCA really handled the crossing of the bar, is that something that would then be transferred over to someone else? Because that is a major feature for acquiring the names, running the crossing of this bar ceremony, as well as placing the names on the stones.
Yeah, of course. We're going to have to look at a lot of things that the PDCA did in the past. They were involved with the wards and any of the things that the PDCA covered. We're going to have to find another way to handle that.
Thank you. I just want to make sure the suspension didn't predicate you from doing anything else.
No, no.
Thanks, sir.
Commodore, question. If the monies go back to the district, will they be retained in a separate fund so that if it's reinstated or reinvigorated, that monies would then be transferred back to the PDCA?
Whether it's in a separate fund or not, I don't know. But I think if we ever did reestablish the PDCA in a year or 2 or 3 from now, I think we can vote to turn an equal amount over to the PDCA to get them started. Is that correct, Bill?
Bill, you're muted.
I tried to do the space bar to temporarily unmute, but it didn't work. I think you could do both, Commodore, and it'd be at your discretion whether you keep it in a separate fund or just identify the amount that was funded in the general district account, and keep it as a separate line item in the accounting, that when the PDCA is reactivated, you just refund it to them so that they would have it in their own bank account where their officers would direct its use, et cetera. Either way would be, I think, proper.
Virgil, what are your thoughts on that?
Presently, the account is in the district's name. There is no PDCA officers on the account, so it is a district account and a separate account.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, anybody else with any questions, comments? Nothing else? Anyone? Hearing nothing else, I think we can prepare to take a vote. Let's do a roll call vote. Either yay for recommending suspension, or nay for keeping it the way it is. Patrick?
Yes, sir, Commodore. District Commodore Geiger.
Yay.
District Chief of Staff Rick Ebel.
Yay.
District Captain LALB North Flamingo.
Yay.
District Captain LALB South Bozarth.
Yay.
District Captain San Diego Inland Donahue.
Yay.
Immediate Past Commodore Harshfield.
Yay.
Directory of Auxiliary Commander Keenan.
I abstain from voting.
Thank you. OTO Devoy.
He's not here.
Got it. Division Commander 1 Peterson. Or Vice Commander 1 Eastless.
Yay.
Thank you. Division Commander 4 Pearson.
He's not here.
Vice Commander 4 Foe.
Yay.
Thank you. Division Commander 5 Brown.
Yay.
Division Commander 6 Palmer.
Yay.
Division Commander 7 Cortez.
Yay.
Division Commander 9 Walker. Vice Division Commander 9 Lupati.
This is David. This is Walker. I abstain.
Got it. Thank you. Division Commander 10 Smith. Division Commander 11 Ziegler.
Yay.
Division Commander 12 Scott.
Yay.
That concludes the roll call.
Thank you, Patrick. So the motion passes, and that should be entered into the minutes. Bill Freed, any comments? Did we do this correctly?
Yes, Commodore, you might restate what it is again to go up to the district commander. That would be a recommendation to suspend the PDCA.
Roger
if I
that.
understand it right.
So the board has entertained a motion to suspend or to recommend a suspension of the PDCA for review by the district by the district commander. And it passed, the motion passed. Okay, so let's move on. Just one other item I just wanted to touch on. You all read the strategic plan several times, right? And the ops plan, probably more than that. So we know that the auxiliary is embracing a safety culture. This is a brand new thing. ANACO, Don Zinner, is going to be the program director, and he's come up with a motto called safety always. Right? Not safety first, but safety always. So I expect at some point we might be seeing coffee cups and t-shirts, I don't know. But the details will be coming out soon, and I'll be looking for a recommendation for a district safety officer. Don't know exactly what that job is going to entail, but it will probably be someone that will either report directly to me or perhaps directly to National. I'm not sure. So keep that in mind as we get more information on that, which I expect later this quarter. I will share that information with you. Looking at the agenda, I think we pretty much covered everything. Rick, do you have anything else?
I don't have anything else. Our DDC DSO reports covered a lot today, so I have nothing else.
Okay. With that, let's move on to our DIROCS pass downs. Commander Keenan.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy New Year. Hopefully everyone had a good holidays, even though it was likely look different than our past holidays. Hopefully we were all able to enjoy them. I want to start off this year by saying thank you guys for last year, coming out of your comfort zone and really shifting things to virtual as much as possible. And also having patience with us in the Coast Guard as we all navigated this craziness of COVID-19 and how we were going to best move forward. We're still living it, unfortunately. I think we all hoped that it would be behind us and in the past and we could call it history, but that's not the case. Just yesterday was on a meeting with the Admiral, with the Commodore, so Mr. Geiger, and also the Commodore from North. And as Admiral stated, sorry. We're doing the Coast Guard, and as the captain stated earlier today, the Coast Guard's rolling out with vaccines. It's going as well as it can be expected. And we are not taking from civilian or any other sources. We're getting our own shipments, but that's still even going slow depending on where in the Coast Guard you're stationed. It's different from north to south. At this time, I know there was a message that came out about auxiliaries and vaccines. The only thing we can do now is point you to websites and basically go through your local county or state or health insurance to try to get the vaccine as any other civilian would. The Coast Guard is not authorized to give them to auxiliaries. There may, I suppose, in some rare case, if an auxiliaries is asked to do something within the health services field of the Coast Guard or do some other specific things, there could be a one-off or two-off of a member getting it, but as a whole, we are not administering them or able to administer them to the auxiliary right now. I know that question has come up, and that is the current guidance. In addition to that, talking about COVID vaccines, is we are not currently authorized to take any information from auxiliary members at the DIROCS office and track if you've received the vaccine or not. Please do not send that to us. It can be a PII issue, it can be a HIPAA issue, and we just aren't tracking it right now. So that may change. I know headquarters, I've talked to BSX, they're looking into what can be done, what we should be doing at this time. If you send it in, we will be just permanently deleting it, not updating any records because we cannot store that information. So please get that to your members. In addition, even if you do get the vaccine, current health CDC guidance and even Coast Guard guidance, it really changes nothing. We still have to follow all of phase 2 guidelines. We still have to wear masks. We still have to social distance. Nothing has changed for the active duty currently. No new policies come out. It may come out. I'm not saying it won't, but currently it hasn't. So again, please get that out. COVID bubbles still apply. The assignment to duty request, everything still applies. If something changes, we will get guidance out as soon as possible once we've digested it and figured out how it applies to the auxiliary and our local AOR. Because as you have seen, as frustrating as it has been, depending on your AOR, everything's handled differently amongst the Coast Guard, amongst our civil, our civilian lives, everything. It's been case by case, area by area. So we'll get that guidance out through the leadership and we'll stand by, but please get it out. Nothing has changed, unfortunately, right now. It's coming out slow. We're doing our best. Unfortunately, keep bearing with us and having patience. But speaking of COVID bubbles, I know I appreciated being able to listen in on all the reports this morning. The COVID bubbles may apply to every field. I know I heard some, DSOs stating that there was confusion about it. Get those questions up the chain of leadership. It can apply to PVs. It can apply to VSCs. Obviously, it applies to operational stuff. It may apply to training. Start talking about it. Ask the questions through your chain of leadership. And if it needs to come up to DIROC's office, then get it to us through the chain of leadership so that we can get people doing as much as we can safely. But the key thing is safely, and every member's safety and health concerns are going to be different. So please respect that. We shouldn't be trying to force someone to do something or even repeatedly ask them if they've said they're not comfortable. It's a serious, thing right now, and you don't know what their either past experience with COVID is, or even some health issues, or their feelings on it. So respect what members say, and hopefully sooner than later, we'll be able to get to some new normalcy. I will say with new normalcy, we're going to have to figure out what it is. The Admiral mentioned to us yesterday that for the near future, he doesn't see us not wearing masks in public as an option, because even if you have the vaccine, someone else doesn't know that you had the vaccine, and therefore it's just going to spread not wearing masks. Believe it, agree with it, doesn't matter. Coast Guard, leadership, everyone is saying we need to wear a mask. So if you're dealing with auxiliary stuff and you're in the public, for a while, you're going to be wearing a mask. There's no getting around it. That came from our Admiral. So again, even if you see the vaccine, let's just squash that rumor now. We're going to be wearing masks for a while. I may not like it, especially as it starts getting into the summer again, but it's going to be with us. The other thing that has come to my attention is, I know an all-aux came out, some emails went out late last year, so November, December timeframe of 2020, about the Flash player going away and how that affected some of our trainings. Now that members are trying to get operational again, one of the trainings that went down is the bloodborne pathogens. It is required for anyone that wants to get on patrol orders. Message went out, emails went out prior to it going down. It's down and we have no replacement. Active duty has no replacement either right now. So I'm sorry, but to put it bluntly, right now you're SOL if you didn't take it. We've asked some questions, they're working on it, but I don't have an answer of when it's coming back up. So I know there's a few other courses out there, Red Cross courses, maybe some local courses through hospitals and stuff. They are not currently accepted by the Coast Guard. Again, that may change. I asked the question, I've passed it up. Currently not an option. And then the last thing, actually, maybe I'll leave that. I think that's all I have, unless there are any questions or things that I forgot, Charlie or Rick, that you want me to speak on.
Nothing from me, Commander.
No, I think you covered it all. Thank you, Commander.
Okay, I'm passing it along.
All right. Next up, Auxiliary Affairs Specialist, Leslie.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I've just got a few random notices or notifications. One, we still have limited staffing at the director's office. We're doing our best to get things out. We've got the occasional ID card moving. We'll be processing another batch of OXOP awards here shortly, and we're getting things out the best we can. We appreciate continued patience. Some of the pet peeves and things that I'm seeing, and Norm mentioned this morning, for applications, there is an application checklist. People need to use it. Right now, or as long as we've been in COVID and until something changes, the applicant is going to fill out the application. There's going to be a virtual interview with the HR and FC, and then applicant sends the application directly to me, to the office, meaning that I shouldn't get an application that comes in with 3 different signatures on it, because that suggests that either a bunch of people got in a room without an assignment to duty, or it means that an application was scanned and emailed around. Neither one should be the case. Okay, don't ever fill out an application, email it around. It's got PII on it, personal information. It's got socials and birth dates. Don't do it. If you, let me see, assignments to duty, there was confusion, or there was a suggestion of confusion this morning. As long as what you're asking for is on the list of permissible activities in phase 2, submit the assignment to duty request. Okay, it will be adjudicated on a case-by-case basis. Nothing is going to be painted with a broad brush. Just submit it. If it can be done, it'll be approved. If it can't be, it'll be explained why it can't be approved. Okay, if you submit a packet to me for somebody being qualified in something or whatever the case, it could take a couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks. Check back in about 4 to 6 weeks if you haven't heard anything. Don't come back to me 2.5 years later and say, I sent you a packet in September of 17 and I just noticed that the guy never got his qual. So just allow a reasonable time for progress, but don't hesitate to check back. The office is no longer able to do print jobs. We used to be able to offer to print manuals, etc. We can no longer do that. We are down to just like desktop printers, and so that's just not going to be a thing anymore. I apologize for anybody who we've disappointed with that. If you ask myself or the IS staff to make entries in Oxdata, and we come back and we say that we've done it, don't expect it to show up in Ox Directory immediately. We have no control over when it gets uploaded into Ox Directory. Sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's a couple of weeks. So since now everybody has access to Oxdata, if you want the current information, the live information, go check in Oxdata for your assignments or for member status, etc. I will be sending out another activity list probably Monday morning. As Paul mentioned, we do need to try, I would like to try and get people out of AP status so they can get out and be helping around the auxiliary. A couple of notes on behalf of the OTO. As Tom mentioned earlier, we're going to need at least a 45-day lead for QE check rides for coordinating the bubbles and double checking everything, making sure we get the QEs into the bubbles. And so the SOs are going to work with the DSO ops and help with that organization. And all facility inspections now need to go through Oxdata too. That means boat facilities, radio facilities, they all get input into Oxdata, and the paper forms, the 7003, 7004, 7008, those, you still use those for the checklist while you're doing the inspection. That, along with photos and registrations, whatever, gets uploaded into Oxdata, and the entire thing gets processed through Oxdata. We don't get any more paper packages sent into the office. And as far as assignment to duties, make sure you give at least 7 days lead time for those. And that's about all I've got. Anybody have anything for me?
Leslie, this is Rick. On the facility paperwork that our members have to directly input into Oxdata. Some of this paperwork, and I'm going to use the 7004 as an example, had spaces on it for an SOCM and the DSOCM to sign. Those signatures are no longer necessary. Is that correct?
The DSOCM, they're right now, Acumen is working in a feature to include the DSOCM in the process.
Okay, and that's in Oxdata.
In Oxdata, right.
What I'm asking is, does the DSOCM still need to sign?
Need to sign the piece of paper? No.
Okay, no. That's perfect.
Rick?
Yes.
This is the OTO. Hey, it's not necessary. It's easier if you sign electronically through Chatter. If you did want to, I just felt it was easier for you, not for them to. You get all these scanned images and have to sign them all and then scan them back in, and upload into just a nightmare. It's just easier if we do Chatter on Oxdata, and it just becomes an electronic signature. It just makes it that much easier.
And Mr. DeVoy, I agree with you, and I believe I've been doing that.
Yeah, good.
What I would really like to see would be some sort of a checkbox like we do when we enter hours, 70, 29, 70, 30 hours, when they're approved by an IS officer. And I mentioned something to Chris Mather about it. He was going to look into it, but he said, don't look for anything next week because it doesn't move that fast. So Chatter's fine for now.
The easiest thing we have is like Leslie was saying, is that it should be coming soon, where for aviation, the DSO DV or AV has a box for approval. The DSO CM will have a box for approval like Dyrox does. So
Gotcha.
It won't even get to my level until you've already checked that box of approval.
You know what? That's really efficient. I appreciate that. And I'm going to get that word out to all of the comms folks and let them know that they can quit inundating my email with their forms.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. I would just to speak to Leslie's point on members and facilities. They have to remember to submit that to our office, because a lot of facilities are just sitting out there and people are wondering what the hell's going on with them, but they never approved them, which would send it up to the next level. So they're just sitting there.
Right.
So we got to make sure that the radio, it's happening a lot with the radio, but we have to make sure all of our members know how they have to physically approve their facility on their own level before it gets to our level.
Right. And when we're offline here at some point, when you have time, you and I can chat about how we can make that even better.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
No problem. So, hey, Charlie, real quick, I just actually spoke to that point, but real quick, I just wanted to, this is probably going to be, unless I'll take questions for anybody who has questions for me after, but this is probably, or this may be my last time being able to speak to everybody seeing I got my official orders and will be leaving here probably mid-June. My replacement has been ordered in and won't be in until mid-July, but I just wanted to take a minute and really, it'll be 5 years here, and thank you all for everything that you have done with both professional and personal help and guidance and things like that. So I just wanted to take the time to thank you all for everything that you guys have done.
Thank you, Mr. DeVoy. I'm sorry I didn't see you enter the room. Is there anything further you wanted to talk to the board about?
Only if I know that Leslie hit some stuff. If anybody has any questions regarding, the bubbles, I think Commander was right on point. The bubbles really are just meant to help or allow us as auxiliaries to work together, not so much with the public, but with each other. That's what those are really for, those bubbles, so that we can continue to train our members so that during the pandemic that they can still get qualified. And if anybody has any questions, bubbles, we don't have a lot. I'm just pretty surprised at the amount of the number of bubbles that we have is only like maybe less than 10. And we only have probably 2 or 3 facilities that are actually getting underway right now, which surprised me a little bit. But make sure we pass that information down that we are, well, not so much me, but the sectors are approving underway missions, so that we can get that word out, so that maybe our members don't understand that we actually are getting underway in some places in the district. And if anybody has any questions, that's really what I'm looking for right now. I don't really have anything else to pass, but if anybody has any questions about anything that's going on as far as assignment to duty requests, bubbles, or anything like that, I can answer that for you.
Any questions for the OTO? So I hope I get to see you before you leave, but it's pretty iffy if things will change so we can meet in person before June. So best of luck in your future endeavors if we don't get to see you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, let's move on to the bridge reports, starting with Chief of Staff Evil.
After everything that's already happened as far as reports given, and the fact that I'm wearing 2 hats and trying to go through ASOC school, I'm really busy. I appreciate everybody's efforts in what they're doing, DDCs, DSOs, and looking forward to working with everybody this year and getting through my ASOC class. So right now, Commodore, that's all I have.
Any pass downs from immediate past, Commodore Harshfield?
Yes. One item, we have just run the report on awards. So we're going to start working on that and getting that together. I can't give you an answer when we're going to present them. Some we want to wait for some type of D-Train or awards banquet like Commodore Geiger just mentioned. But we have closed out the awards calendar for last year, and we are going to be working on it to get the awards out in some manner. So more on that to come.
Thank you, Chris.
Yep.
Let's do the DCAP reports, starting with, let's go to North this time. Mike Fiamingo.
Thank you, Commodore. Yeah, I'd like to start out with, first of all, thanking Jim Pearson for stepping up into the position of division commander since there was an opening, and to Quay Fo, who has accepted to be his vice commander. Things that are going on in Division 4, they are working on safety and guideline compliance in Phase 2, assignment to duty. They are setting up public education virtual classes and really making a push again for those that are working on their OXOP to get that completed during this window of time where you can pass your courses with 90% and not need them proctored. Also, Division 4 is currently processing 2 new members, so they're in process. And also a shout out that in Division 4, a commendation was received for Ox Food Service to Barry Chapman. And with that, the next one would be Division 7, and I'll turn that over to Division Commander Cortez.
Yeah, yes. Regard to Division 7, I'm happy to report that within that division, we've had maintained 2 crew bubbles for the COVID. We've had some boat ops going on with both dual boat training and helicopter operations. One of which we've actually set up a radio guard for that. They're coordinating more classes online for the division and hosting them within the next few months. Working on safe paddlecraft course with the multiple kayak rental companies on the Central Coast. We've been training on Octu data, how to find forms. We've had we've set up some setting up some an operational plan to be posted on a website. I believe that's the Commodore's plan, a SWAT plan that's going to be posted. Let me see. We have had essential communications maintained to keep in touch with flotilla members, considering the COVID situation, and try to keep morale and good spirits up as we go through this pandemic. Looking forward to a brighter 2021, and hopefully things keep moving along for us. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Rudy. And next, I'd like to have Division 12, Maurice Scott.
Second.
I don't think Maurice is online, Mike.
Oh, no, I am. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We presented Division 12 staff officers with appreciation awards and accomplishments and other various achievements. Newsletter Waterlines has been published by our Division Public Affairs and have been sent out to Division 12 members. A Fatella Elected Leadership Academy was conducted on 5th December 2020 on Zoom. I participated in that class. And also I instructed a FILA class for elected flotilla commanders. Okay, Division 12 quorum was met at all meetings. At the first meeting, all voting standards implemented. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, face-to-face and surface operations have been suspended until new directives have been issued from District 12 SR. Normal Coast Guard and Coast Guard auxiliary activities and operations have been not suspended, but restricted because of COVID-19. I will require all the flotilla commanders to do a draft emergency plan for their flotillas. I have also submitted a draft to District Captain Mike Flamingo for a division emergency plan. I have encouraged flotilla commanders to conduct retention and recruitment activities and attract their members retiring and new members joining. I believe we have about 2 people processing in our division, new members coming in. That's all I have, sir, for my report.
Thank you, Maurice. That's the end of LALB North, Commodore.
Thank you, Mike. Move on to Captain LA South, Michael Bozarth.
Thank you, Commodore. One thing I'd like to share with the group across the LALB South is one of the areas we're emphasizing this year is division collaboration. And until we can get on the water in earnest and back on land in earnest, working side by side, in the interim, we're going to take advantage of Zoom. So I'm encouraging the division commanders to attend neighboring division meetings so that they can share best practices, learn from others, and asking the division commanders to encourage their flotilla commanders to do the same. So really kind of leveraging Zoom to get a little more closer upfront, a little more personal, so that we can do a better job in collaboration. There's been some great examples in the past, but I think we would all agree that we're leaving a little bit on the table. So that's one of our themes this year, and hopefully you'll hear more about that as the year progresses. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Brown. If you can give us just a minute or two and highlight Division 5 for us, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. In line with what DCAP Bozarth mentioned, one of the things we did at our first division meeting was get all the flotilla commanders together and put their flotilla meeting schedules online. So they're all aware of when the meetings are being held and they can attend each other's meeting and get some cross-pollination going. We also were focusing on getting members out of REYR by participating in online training where they can, where it's available. As far as keeping member retention, last year we were only down about 5%. So the flotilla commanders did a good job keeping people on board. With regards to recruitment, right now in Division 5, we have about 12 potential new members in process. And our former SONT from last year had done a really good job of putting together a guideline of how to get those people on board and what steps need to be taken not to overwhelm them with a load of paperwork starting off, because that was scaring a lot of people off. Also, as far as recruitment goes, we're working on some PE activities with 2 local yacht clubs. We're setting up a Suddenly Command class with the club in the Torrance area. And we're looking at setting up additional PE classes with Cabrillo Beach Yacht Club. And I'm encouraging some of the other flotilla commanders to engage with yacht clubs in their area as well to put on these online PE classes. The new virtual version of ABS is going to be a real benefit to us, although it's going to be over like about 4 nights, about 2 hours a night. So that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, keeping people engaged with Zoom on that. Also, with regards to ops, we passed down the information on forming the bubbles, looking at trying to get people back on the water and also getting our VE people back active again. One of the challenges we have is we have right now about 6 to 7 VE trainee candidates who have no option right now for getting certified. And we're looking into maybe passing some things up the chain of leadership to see what can be done to get them on board and get them active. Some of the other challenges as well throughout the flotilla and within the division is filling some of the SO and FSO shortfalls. One of the things that was elaborated on to me was some of the burnout with regards to a lot of the requirements and so on. So we're trying to get around that and get some new blood on board to help fill those shortfalls. And that's the end of the report.
Thank you, David. Mr. Palmer, Division 6, do you want to give us a minute or two representing your AOR?
Thank you, Michael. Well, we have some complications within Division 6. COVID has recently hit us pretty hard. Michael Carrillo, who was a retired Coast Guard and auxiliarist also, passed away last week, crossed the bar. And we have Gordon Toady, who's been in the hospital with cancer and COVID, and now also has pneumonia for 20 weeks. And for those of you that know Commodore Dave Gaudette, he has entered stage 4 cancer and is not looking good. So with that goes, that's all the bad news. The good news is that our scouting program has been on Zoom and training's been taking place. Division 6 has taken over again the Radio Newport, and we're preparing radio guards, getting them qualified and up to speed. We had to use our emergency calls for 2 fires in Silverado Canyon and Irvine. And one, we were able to clear everybody in 30 minutes. The other one, we cleared everybody in 15 minutes. So we were really pleased with that. Our CS is working diligently with the district site and also keeping our flotillas up to date. Our diversity is, we all got the NACO 3-star awards last year. HR, we've got at least one new member in every flotilla, and one of them has 6 new members. So we're excited about that. Of course, Chris Mathers did our Oxdata 2 training and did that. Our marine safety training is going along fairly well. We should have a qualification board for Division 6 members in the future. Our navigational services are working on programs right now. We have stuff already at Alameda being checked. And at the time we were using 1 person on landing according to protocol. We have had some ops missions go out. In our publications department, we were able to create an accessible material for a new member who has a learning disability within our division. And all our SR reports are up to date. And our VEs are starting to get ATDs and setting up vessel exams for 2021. And that's the end of the report.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that. Really not least, move to Division 11, Mr. Ziegler.
As Boz mentioned in the first part of the meeting, we have one of the largest actual areas to cover. And right now we are only active on 1 lake, primarily out of a half a dozen in our area. So our big focus this year is going to be expanding our footprint, trying to train more boat crews, VEs, and such, so we can start getting out to some of the other lakes in our areas. We also have had pretty good luck with recruitment. Our 2 largest flotillas have actually recruited quite a few new members over the last year and have been very active in getting them trained and getting quite a few members qualified in OXOP. We also have 1 flotilla now that has an Ox Scouts ship attached to it. So which should also help us out. And we've been working on getting some new ideas for PE, public education, to try to get more boaters trained. And we have also had a fairly extensive amount of social media going on over the last year with our public affairs, and it's building up quite a fan base as well. So, but that's pretty much it. End of report.
Great. Thank you, Jim. And Commodore, that wraps up what I believe is the hardest working and perhaps the best looking AOR, also known as LALB South.
Thank you, Boz. We'll move on to Captain San Diego Inland, Rod.
Thank you, Commodore, and great reports. And actually, in terms of our emphasis for San Diego Inland, although not in my AOR, I think District Commander Brown, Division Commander Brown of 05, sort of was very succinct in what we're trying to emphasize here as well, and which is retention. Retention, I think, is a very big issue, especially as we're coming into year 2 of this. And it's one that we're trying to get all our division commanders to be very active and engaged with the members and with flotilla commanders. And I think they've done a great job of that so far. And of course, the other aspect of it that Mr. Brown touched on, and I think every other division commander's touched on, you'll see it here too, is keeping the members engaged and the various ways and challenges to do that. And so I've got some great division commanders this year. First up would be Division 1. I don't believe Mr. Peterson's with us. If not, Robert Eastlis, who's a division vice commander, will give the report. Mr. Eastlis and Mr. Peterson are first year in their position. Robert?
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, Commander and Commodores, and to my fellow auxiliaries. The goal for the Division 01 is to maintain engagement with all of our members throughout, as I said, through our division. We look forward to operating at normal levels, and we'll continue to train to prepare for when we get the word to re-engage with our public. We continue to push training in the interim and hope to see more of our members participate in the online offerings to not only better their position, but also their potential. While we are working through the restrictions of the pandemic, Division 1 continues to recruit new members. While it really is a handful of flotillas that are actively recruiting or they're getting contacted for recruiting purposes, the fact that we're recruiting at all, especially with AMS being down and with limited capacity, is a huge plus for the organization. Our flotillas can continue to meet regularly, either via Zoom or GoToMeeting. Either myself or Commander Peterson have been lucky to attend a few of the meetings. Each unit is continuing to pass down information from higher levels to keep our members engaged. Communication is the key right now, and that's kind of what we're trying to push with our members, not only with attending meetings, but also with regular communication via email. Various division members are also moving forward with division-wide training opportunities. For example, the division recently had an OXC training about a month or so ago, and is now in the process of working with members on an OX weather course. We're very hopeful that in the next month or so, we should see a few members or a few of our members train for the OXCOM and TCO courses, what we're hoping for. Not only that, but we're also looking at opportunities where we can see training not only for boat crew, because we have members who are actively looking for boat crew and are even working on getting mentors for boat crew, but hopeful that we can soon engage with the air program. We have a lot of interest in the San Diego area, so we're looking very much forward to getting operational again. Like I said, the main problem right now is engagement. So the more we can do to keep our members engaged, hoping that we can get past the guidelines and then we can open back up. The bubbles are definitely helping, and hopefully we can start getting our operations back online. With that, I think the more we can do to keep our members informed, the better it will be to, lighten the disheartened attitudes that a few members have. But I think overall, I think it's been very positive, and we continue to look forward to working with our members to not only, get more operational, but also diversity, working on the NACO 3-star award. I think we had half of our units earn it this last year, and the goal for this year is to try to get all of our units to earn the NACO 3-star. That's it for me, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robert. With that, we're going to go to Division 9, which is the Colorado River, which consists of Arizona, Nevada, and California. We have, and I'm pleased to have, David Walker. Mr. Walker is his first year in this position, and his vice is William Lupati. Mr. Walker.
Thank you, Rod. Division 9 we've had very little outside activity other than, just a few VEs done under the COVID protocol. We've been having an ongoing training program for our members to get them more used to doing the online activities and to keep them active. Recruiting is slow, but we are working on it. We have a few applicants already. Every flotilla last year, of course, we received, every flotilla received the NACO 3 award. And Vice Commander Willem Lupati is also the SOCM, has been handling the radios and making sure that they're all properly accounted for and in the proper hands. And we're also getting ready to start a emergency notification network within the division. That's the end of the report.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that. Next, and finally, we have Division 10, which is the greater Arizona area. We have Matt Smith, who's my veteran. He's a former, he was the division commander last year, and he's repeating this year. His vice is Paul Switek. And Mr. Smith had to step out. He sent me a note. He was here earlier, but he had to leave, so I'm going to give his report. Frankly, his report is similar to what we've heard through just about every other division commander, and so the challenge concerning the challenges and where they're at. He's pleased to announce that he started. They have had bubbles within their division. They've taken that to heart, and they've started that. And one of their bubbles has now received an assignment to duty. Their SO Ops is arranging division-wide online ashore training or school for both crew and coxswains. And in addition to that, I know that some of his flotillas, at least one of them, are very active in training independent of that. So that's very good to hear. One of the concerns, and again, this is a retention issue, and I know every division commander here has got the same issue. I think electronic meetings have been great. There are many electronic meetings. I think that's gone well. I hate this word, but it's sort of the new normal for now, and I think everybody's incorporated it. The downside is of course, meetings versus activity, right? And so that's one of the challenges he's particularly facing with his flotilla commanders and members. With a ratio before of about perhaps 1 hour of meeting for every 20 hours of activity, it's essentially 20 hours of meetings for 0 hours of activity. And I know that we're all facing that challenge and keeping the members interested and active. And as Commander Keenan says, I think we're close. We're getting more and more open, and hopefully that will solve the issue. But that's one of his challenges in 10. So Commodore, that's it. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Rod. Let's move on to finance. Virgil, do you have a finance report and anything you want to say about the budget?
Okay, everybody probably doesn't have a copy of the budget. It was approved last year, but I do want everybody to know, or at least all of the staff officers know, that there is a small budget if any of you guys have expenses or need something. The other thing that we're going to need right away is if any of the staff officers need to purchase something of any consequence at all, the needs of Rodney Donald, you'll know right away so he can build it into next year's budget. And the budget too is not cut in stone. All it does is give the Commodore authorization to do things to keep the division act or district acting. And I believe you all have a copy of the estimated finance report for year end. The reason it's estimated, for some unknown reason, we still have not been billed by National for the membership, and I can't close the books until I get that. Does anybody have any quick questions?
This is your chance, guys. Any questions for Virgil? I guess they're all happy, Virgil.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Patrick, you want to make a motion to entertain a motion to approve the minutes?
As I submitted the minutes, there were 2 corrections that were brought to my attention. Those have both been corrected, and I believe we just need a motion to accept the minutes and approve them for our last board meeting.
I will make that motion to approve the minutes.
I will second it.
Is there any discussion regarding approving the minutes? Patrick, can you take a quick roll call?
Yes, I can, sir. District Commodore Geiger.
Aye.
Lost my voting sheet. There we go. District Chief of Staff Ebel.
Aye.
District Captain LALB North Fiamingo.
Aye.
District Captain LALB South Bozarth.
Aye.
District Captain San Diego Inland Donahue.
Aye.
Immediate Past Commodore Harshill.
Aye.
Director of Auxiliary Commander Keenan.
Aye.
Division Commander 1 Peterson. Vice Commander 1 Eastless.
Aye.
Thank you. Division Commander 4 Pearson. Vice Commander Foe. Division Commander 5 Brown.
Aye.
Division Commander 6 Palmer.
Aye.
Division Commander 7 Cortez.
Aye.
Division Commander 9 Walker.
Aye.
Thank you. Division Commander 10 Smith. Division Commander 11 Ziegler.
Aye.
Division Commander 12 Scott.
Aye.
That concludes the roll call.
Thank you, Patrick. Let's move on to our sector reports, starting with our sector coordinator for LA Long Beach, John Ross.
Thank you, Commodore, and good afternoon, board and staff. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. First, wanted to start with a little short review of what a sector coordinator really does. And the definition, it goes like this. Under the general direction of the Auxiliary District Commodore and partnering with the Sector Active Duty Liaison Officer, I do the following. Serve as a principal representative of the Auxiliary, overseeing the coordination and mission performance of Auxiliary members that are augmenting within the sector's AOR, encompassing the full range of prevention, response, and logistic missions in which the Auxiliary participates. To serve as the principal auxiliary spokesperson within the sector AOR and to seek opportunities to raise the visibility of the auxiliary and assure effective auxiliary communications with the sector units and staff. We work with various district staff officers for all sector activities, and it's important to note that all communications between the auxiliarists and the sector staff at LALB should involve the sector coordinator and the sector OXLO. It doesn't mean that I have to approve or be intricately involved, but I need to be aware of what's going on and who's doing what. This covers all the areas of the response with vessels and radios, with prevention, with recreational boating safety, and with logistics for mission support, with the exception that AUX-Air normally works with the Coast Guard air stations. Currently, the forward operating base at Point Mugu is not considered a full air station, and I'll mention that a little bit later. Hopefully, the new air station will become active toward the end of this year or the first of next year, and then that'll be a separate activity. I'd like to take this time now to let you know that our new auxiliary liaison officer from the sector, we call him the OXLO, is Lieutenant J.G. Bobby Cunningham. He's in the Sector Inspections Division. Fine young man. I've met with him online several times now. He's picking up the information that he needs to help us do what the sector needs. The order issuing authority now is young Ensign Dewey Tang. He's also in the inspection division. And Ensign Tang is really picking up the operational things really quick. And he's been working with both of the OXLO and the OIA have been working with Chris Mather, so they get up to speed on OX Data 2, and they're doing really well. Now I'd like to take an opportunity to talk about our auxiliary unit coordinators, which is a function under the ASC. Initially, the COVID stand down stopped all direct activity with the units that AUCs are assigned to. Recently, however, our AUCs have been active with the small boat stations that have been in regular contact with each of the stations. Such an activity like at Station Morro Bay, the auxiliary unit coordinator, Dave Nauman, is helping with the project to get paddlecraft stickers out to the numerous paddleboard and kayak owners in their area of responsibility with auxiliary, quote, no contact, unquote, distribution of the stickers to the Coast Guard station office and to the harbor and marina offices in the area. This activity was coordinated through the sector response department. Also at Station Channel Islands, now conducting 2 boat trainings you heard about earlier on a weekly basis with our operational facility MAR2. All 3 stations, I can tell you, are looking forward to more activity as we expand our abilities, and the AUCs will be the primary contact for these activities. There have been 4 AUCs who have been assigned to cutters and are in regular virtual contact with the cutter crews. Unfortunately, as you heard earlier, AUC Keith Green, who was the AUC for the Coast Guard cutter Halibut, passed away in mid-January. The commanding officer of the Halibut and his crew really appreciated Keith's service to the cutter prior to COVID and then virtually for the past year. The commanding officer also participated in Division 12's January meeting with a memorial ceremony for Keith's family, and he attended the burial service. That's the good connection between the active duty units and our AUCs. The commanding officer of the Coast Guard cutter Norwal also is down in Newport Harbor, has invited the auxiliary unit coordinator, Gary Nelson, to attend virtually an award ceremony this Monday where Captain Orr will present the crew with the Meritorious Team Commendation. And I think that the captain of the skipper of the Norwal considers our auxiliary folks as part of her crew. The AUCs for the fast response cutters Horn and Bottoms have kept in contact with the new commanding officers and are looking forward to getting out of COVID in a time that we can all get back together for activities in person. I would like to let you know that we have 18 potential positions for auxiliary unit coordinators. Currently, we only have 9 assigned. And so we're going to be looking as we move toward opening of finding more people to serve as AUCs around the area. Now I'd like to talk about the sector coordinator. I've had the privilege of attending the weekly virtual command staff meetings and am talking regularly with the department heads and division officers about what's going on around the sector. They comment all the time that they really want the auxiliary back. And at each staff meeting, I learn more about activities that we can be involved with, and that list continues to grow. As you heard from Captain Orr this morning, we coordinated for the sector to have the sector command staff. My computer is jumping around here. Just a second. I hope I didn't. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay. My screen's flashing at me. So anyhow, Captain Orr mentioned this morning that we coordinated for the sector staff to attend the division meetings, and we've completed 5 out of the 6 divisions in the sector's AOR, and they're looking forward to getting the last one done probably in March or April. This has been a great morale booster, I think, for both us and with the sector. Also, the auxiliary approved surface operations are starting up again. And as you heard this morning, I participate in a virtual stand-up meeting every Monday morning that we started up again 2 weeks ago. Just this year, from January 1, we have had 8 patrols involving 3 auxiliary facilities working together and or working with the active duty folks. both in the northern and southern areas of the sector's AOR. Earlier, I talked about the Channel Islands surface operations that Auxiliary Unit Coordinator Brody continues or coordinates with the station, but they also support the helicopter training from Forward Operating Base Point Mugu during those patrols. That prompted actually a response department person to reach out about when our Aux Air assets might be available again just a few days ago. And I coordinated with the DSO for Aviation, Mr. Powell, and I'm really pleased to see that that activity is really coming online. Hopefully we'll get it soon. I will be working with Waterways Management Division and the inspection divisions for activities that we can get back to when we are released. When COVID begins to open up, there will be opportunities for us to return to marine domain awareness patrols with UPV inspections, commercial fishing inspections, and as COVID opens up, there will be opportunities for additional marine events that will require both land and water support, such as the Fleet Week over Labor Day weekend and the Great Pacific Air Show over the first weekend in October. These activities will mean coordination with like the DSO-MS and all of her groups, DSO-OP and DSO Public Affairs. These are just samples of the activities that will be available as we continue moving the list along through the sector. I'd like to switch hats for just a second and talk about the DSO for Emergency Management. I took that position over the first of the year. I've got two ADSOs for emergency management. Commodore Harshfield is going to be in charge of Everbridge, and the ADSO for the San Diego area is the ASC Mike Fulgrim. We're going to be looking to expand some ADSO positions in the future. We just haven't defined that yet. In cooperation with the sector's Emergency Management and Force Readiness Unit, we will be developing a list of positions that the sector needs for auxiliary support. We already are reviewing the gap analysis that was completed prior to the COVID stand down to determine the qualifications that the sector will need for us to address. This will require specific training and detailed collection of data about existing emergency management qualifications, even those qualifications that are outside of the auxiliary, in order to find out how we can help train our members up to the Coast Guard standards. This is not tracked in Aux Data 2 yet, but the Q Directorate at National is working on tools to help us get the data that we need to find out what or who all of our members are who have already existing qualifications in emergency management. Finally, a little bit about Everbridge. Commodore Harshfield is the ADSO, as I said, for Everbridge, and we are planning quarterly testing on the system over the next year, starting in March. Also, we will be working with the Q Directorate for Emergency Management and Disaster Response for a training program that will help all of us understand why the Everbridge is such an important tool for emergency preparedness and for our notification systems. And that's my report for today. Any questions?
Thank you very much, John. It was an excellent report.
Okay, thanks.
Let's move on to our sector coordinator for San Diego, Mike Fulgham.
Yeah, this is Mike. I pretty much second what the DSO ASC for LALB said as far as my responsibilities. We've been here at Sector, had Sector endorsed Auxiliary Donovan Roberts as our AUC for the Cutter Haddock. He's a certified civilian diesel engineering and has had a close relationship with that cutter as far as helping them with maintenance problems. He's also had a long and close relationship with the cutter at Easto as it's past AUC. To let everybody know, we have two OXLOs for Sector San Diego. One is Lieutenant Zabo, Ryan Zabo for response, and Lieutenant John R. Santorum for prevention. And I think he's listening to our meeting right now. We hope through the two OXLOs we'll have a better management of auxiliary Affairs in Sector San Diego's, because these two gentlemen are always on the move. So we have to have one or the other available to resolve some problems. Also, Lieutenant Szabo would like to conduct a virtual meeting with the senior auxiliary leadership in Sector San Diego's AORR to occur on Saturday morning, February 20th, 2021. The meeting will address plans for the activation of their auxiliary support of Coast Guard Sector San Diego. During that meeting, we hope to discuss Sector San Diego's approach to Phase 2, addressing the D11 reconstitution memo, and also review the D11 Ready for Force RFFs. And we're beginning to get feedbacks from Sector in regards to support that they'd like to see. One is secretarial support for our administrative division, new logistic supply support. We'd like to see at least 2 or 3 members helping in that department, and possibly planning department support with OXLO PQS training. We also would like to explore areas for the Eastern AOR support for Sector San Diego involving UPV and CFE support, and also OXAIR support. And I would certainly invite Mr. Powell to attend that meeting when we send out the notices. So far, that's my report. Any questions?
Thank you, Mike.
If I can, Mike, it's Chris Milano, DDC response. When you have that meeting, can you please schedule me to that as well?
Certainly.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mike. Great report. Next up, we've got a special presentation from Marie Scott. I received a notification about 2 months ago from National HR that they were looking for auxiliaries to work at the MEPS station in El Segundo. MEPS, Military Entrance Processing Station, I believe. This is where people that just join the military and any of the branches go to get processed and get their fingerprints and so forth. And Maurice has volunteered to be the point of contact for that, and he'd like to spend a few minutes filling you in on exactly what he's doing. Maurice?
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Commodore and district staff. Basically, yes, I've been selected to be program lead. And basically, I've been going to informational Zoom meetings in regards to the Coast Guard recruiting support for the active duty. Basically, I'm slotted to go to school March 8th to the 26th. This is a recruiter school, and class 01. And basically, from what my understanding is, I'll be pretty much like a counselor and also a recruiter. Some of the things I put in here is position objectives is program lead serves as liaison for augmented Coast Guard recruiting office, provides program SOP and PQS and reporting for duty SOP to district leadership, collaborates with district leadership to identify candidates for augmentation needs. Another thing is my job will probably be also recruiting interviews, qualification, established candidate rosters for presenting to the RIC, which is the recruiter in charge. RIC interviews and selects candidates who are reported for duty and provides names to the program lead. Roster, augmentees, auxiliaries, update monthly. So I'll be looking for people to actually work along with me in this program lead position for the recruiting office. And basically, another job will be managing DEPs, which are delayed entry program fitness check off, distant location, saving the RIC significant money and time, presenting career opportunities at school, career events, conducting interviews at RO, qualifying candidates who walk into the door, telephone calls, and meet accession requirements. Staffing military entry processing station MEPS, which is in El Segundo. Serving as a funeral detail for deceased active duty and retired Coasties honor guard, usually with one Coast Guard recruiter present at most ROCs. So that's a big part of the funeral detail, which was interesting to me. Greeting walk-ins and telephone inquiries at Coast Guard recruiting office, qualified for sessions, and handling off to recruiters. So basically, I'll be like the point of contact for some of the people coming into the recruiting office to further their career into the military, into active duty services. Another thing too is actually I have a little bit of experience with recruiting. When I was in the Army Reserve, when I got off active duty, I had got ADSW orders, which is assignment to duty for work for active duty. And I worked at the MEPS in Los Angeles at La Brea and Rodeo. This was some years back, about 15 years ago. And it's pretty much the same thing. It's just that at this time I'm volunteering to do it. So it's pretty interesting. You actually, person comes in and they say, hey, I want to go to the service, or you get a leave for them to come in, you go talk to them, counsel them, and you set their career up for them. As far as going out to make sure they do the exercises to get ready for when they join the service and go to boot camp. So you're really actively involved with encouraging and motivating the person to join the military and stay with the program. So it's pretty active. And if I look for people to work or help me work out with this, I'm going to be looking for people who want to motivate people to join the service. And also, this is also a big part of the Coast Guard Auxiliary, is recruiting people for Coast Guard Auxiliary as well. So those folks who don't get into the active service or change their minds, they may think about being in the auxiliary. So that's another way of me getting people for our district and divisions. But for me, it's going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be a challenge, but I'm looking forward to it. I do like to work with people to motivate them to join the services and serve the country. So hopefully that when I start this, I've been selected. I've already been approved. I haven't been called down to talk to the senior chief. His name is Senior Chief Morales. He's down at the El Segundo at MEPS. He's, I guess, the person in charge down there. I haven't went down and met him yet. But I'm pretty sure after I go to school in March, I'll probably start doing a lot of more other things with this. So other than that, if you guys have any questions about it, you can email me or you can call me and ask me more questions about it. But at this point in time, this is all the basic information I have about it until I go down and meet with the senior chief at the MEPS Center. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Maurice. So once Maurice is trained and that's a little bit of experience, he will be looking for additional folks to come in and work at the station. So if that sounds like it's something that's up your alley, not sure exactly how it's going to work. Perhaps you'll be working 4-hour shifts. We don't know yet. But I do know that the shifts start early in the morning, like 5:30.
I want to add, sir, can I add one thing?
Sure.
Is that I'm pretty sure it's not going to be an everyday thing. It's going to be when they have, it's not going to be for onesie, twosies. It's going to be for a group of people who want to join. So it may not necessarily be every day. Maybe when we find out there's a group of people that's going to join the active duty and go to boot camp and need to be processed in, then we'll know what days those people need to come down and help out. And mostly it's going to be helping out at the processing stations, pretty much.
Thank you, Maurice. Got a question from Matt Smith, Division Commander 10. He's asking to know the status of the 2019 award. Matt, do you want to phrase your question to the board and see if perhaps Commodore Harshfield or perhaps Leslie can answer that?
Commodore, I think it's Paul Switek for Matt Smith. If Paul's still here, he could address that because Matt's had to leave.
Sure. Go ahead, Paul.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Commodore. Yes, Matt had to leave, so he sent me 3 questions, actually 1 statement by text and 2 questions. The first, I think it was already covered with the division has at least 1 bubble, possibly 2 in the works right now. The other question he had was there's 2019 awards that were submitted, lost a couple of times and resubmitted in the last month. So he was asking if there was any status on those. And with the change in the PDCA, is there any particular person that he should be submitting awards to for 2020 right now? That's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Commodore Harshfield or Leslie, anybody have any input on that?
I can't speak on behalf of who you're submitting awards to now. Those do need to go through the chain of leadership. And I think, Charlie, you mentioned that you appointed an awards person. So you'll have to decide how you're doing that. As for the ones that I never received in 2019, I still have not received them. So I don't know where they were submitted to or where they are in the process, but they are definitely not up to me at the DIROC's office.
But Paul, if you want to put that in an email, we'll route it around and see if we can get an answer for you.
Okay, thank you. I'll let Matt know.
Norm, is there anything else on the chat box that we need to address?
No, nothing right now.
All right, with that, we'll move on to old business. I'm not aware of any old business. Anyone else on the board aware of anything?
There is no old business from the previous minutes.
Thank you, Patrick. New business, I believe Michael Bozarth has something.
I do. Thank you, Commodore. I've got a proposal for the board's consideration to update the district standing rules. And while this is a little administrative in nature, I think it's important to get right. If you go to, and I'm sure you all have the district standing rules in your pocket, so pull those out now. If you go to the appendix, page number 2, section D, item 3, District Awards Committee. As you heard earlier, the Commodore has given me the privilege to chair that committee this year. So when I was doing my research on what that meant, I noticed that in the paragraph that describes the District Awards Committee responsibilities, the dates probably need to be changed. The 2 dates I'm referring to is July 1st. That's the date that the committee is on the hook for to submit the recommendations to the district board of the actual awards themselves. And then December 15th is the second date noted there. Those awards need to be handed off for delivery. Those dates reflect our fiscal year, which, as you all, I'm sure, are aware, we are now on a calendar year. So my proposal to you here today is to push those dates out by 3 months. So specifically, that would essentially realign it to the new calendar year cadence that we're on. So specifically, my proposal for the board to consider is the recommendations, the awards committee shall submit the recommendations to the district board by the 1st of October in lieu of July 1, and that the awards themselves would be delivered by March 15th instead of December 15th.
What was this article again? Article number?
It's actually not an article. It's in the
appendix. An appendix. Sorry.
Yeah. Page 2, section D, item 3, District Awards Committee. But I think
so to clarify, our standing rules, our current standing rules were actually drafted in 2012. And at the time that they were drafted, we gave awards based on a fiscal year. And now we are on a calendar year, so we need to change some dates in the rules. Is that about it?
Yes, sir.
So the question is, what is the process to change the standing rules? Commander or DSO legal, you have anything on that?
It would require a vote. I'll have to look. The quorum is different and the majority is different for bylaws, but I'll have to look that up and get back to you.
I think we can prepare that and either have another virtual meeting to approve that, or it could even wait till the next meeting. I don't see any urgency on that. Do you, Boz?
No, sir. It's not urgent. We're just now getting started, so we can pick this up when we've got all the protocol.
So let's get the verbiage together and we'll send it over to legal and we'll take it up at the next meeting.
Commodore, this is Tom Jacobsmeyer. Just as a note on changing the dates for this, I don't know if this has any issue on it, but you might check with National and see if this dovetails in with their award system at all, and if they've changed their dates. I don't know how this syncs up with it, but it might be a concern.
Are these dates in the body of the standing rules, or is that in the appendix?
It's in the appendix.
I think it was in the appendix. We can handle that on a local basis. Does that sound right?
That does sound right.
Okay, so we'll work on that between now and the next meeting. Okay, anything else from anybody on the board?
Commodore, I have one last alibi, if you don't mind, if I can
Sure,
get a little business. But so I'm hearing lots of great things, and as we're preparing to hopefully ramp up and get people back integrated with the active duty, I know I've heard a couple initiatives, and then also, you know, we're talking about RFF and gap analysis and getting folks augmenting the active duty on February 18th of 2020. So we haven't really dealt with this much, but a new Commandant instruction was issued and it covers DO and DI clearances. And I no longer have the authority to give waivers for the DO and DI clearances. If you're not familiar with that, previous DIROXs have had the authority where I didn't have to get the full waiver back from SecCen. That is no longer the case. That does mean it will take longer to get ALACs or DO or DI clearances. The DO DI clearances really affect air, unfortunately, and then anyone that's looking to get an ALAC card. The reasoning behind that, there is actually reasoning, is they realized when we stopped doing the background checks that required fingerprints, we are no longer able to give waivers. You initially, with those fingerprints, it took longer, but that checked the box and did the background checks that were required for DO and DI. So I could look at that and I could give a waiver at my area while they did the full looking into your history and credit reports and friends and family and contacts and everything. We no longer require fingerprint cards. Good thing for getting membership in, but bad thing for DO and DIs. So have patience with us. Don't yell at us. It's a Commandant instruction. I can't change it. I've gone back to BSX. They're aware, and that's the process. There, I know, are still some folks. I actually got into a back and forth with some national members and directorates in charge of programs that they were passing that I could give waivers. Sorry, I'm not listening to them. I'm going to go with the Commandant instruction, signed, approved, and that's what I have to listen to. So I will leave that out. We'll see how long it takes and go from there, but have patience. Sorry to give some bad news there, but I want to get the expectations out so that we all can manage the expectations that it will not be as quick as it may have been. Questions? Save your comments because they're probably not going to be happy. So, but questions, I will try to address if you have any.
I have a question, ma'am.
Yeah, of course.
Is that the same as far as for CAT cards too?
So you don't get CAT cards as an auxiliarist. It's an ALAC card only. So yes, that's the auxiliary equivalent, and it doesn't have a picture. So yeah, unfortunately, sorry. Yours is the one that triggered, your presentation triggered it, that if you need to get on the Coast Guard network, we have to get you an ALAC, and it is a process that is now not waiverable.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commander. Any more questions or parting comments? Anyone? Mike Flamingo.
Yes, Commodore, where are we in regard to getting names on the memorial? Have we found a new source for doing that or a new process?
Wow, Leslie might be the one that can answer that. Leslie, are you there?
I'm here, but I'm not sure you're going to like my answer. I have a list of all the names. We'll probably have close to 100 names by the time that we finally do a ceremony again. However, I have repeatedly sent emails to Commodores and to folks that were in charge of the PDCA to alert them to the fact that there is that somebody needed to reach out to the engraver that we used to use that was, I believe, on his way to retiring from doing the engraving the way we've been doing it. Several emails went unanswered. I believe we're probably about to the point where we're just going to have to abandon the marker stone that is unfinished at this moment, because we're probably going to have to go to a different method of maybe having them make a plate and attach it to the existing stone. I don't know, but somebody in on the auxiliary side of the house needs to take that and make some phone calls or emails or make it happen. I've taken photos. I've counted how many marker faces we have available. I can give you names to put on the marker and double check the spelling for you. But unfortunately, somebody from the auxiliary side needs to take it and run with it.
Yeah, now that we don't have a PDCA, or we will not have a PDCA, we may need to appoint a memorial marker committee to look into this and take it a little further.
Commodore, it's Suzanne. I hate to break in. I have all that stuff, including all of the finance records and a few names. I can work with Leslie on that if you guys don't mind.
And you were on the bank account for the PDCA?
Yes, I am.
So you would be the one that
all kinds of things for you guys.
All right, so you're the one that can write a check.
Well, last I heard I could. If not, I'll find some cash for you guys. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
Okay, great. No, I'll help Leslie get those names together. I've got one or two from Division 10 already. I know some more have been. Oh, timeout? Okay. Where's that technical?
At the risk of my beating a dead horse here, this is not going to be about helping Leslie do it. This is going to be about an auxiliarist needs to take it and run with it, and I will help with just verifying spelling of names and getting the names and any pertinent data out of the records. But an auxiliarist needs to, and not me, auxiliarist, needs to take it and make it happen.
It's a deal. I'm the one. Heaven help us.
I'll talk to you about that, Leslie. We can see if we can volunteer someone.
No, I'll be glad to help. I'm sorry. I'll be glad to do it for you, Leslie.
Commodore.
Okay, anything else? Anyone?
Commodore.
Yes.
The PDCA does not pay for the engraving of the names. That comes out of a separate account, but it is not PDCA.
Right. Yeah, I do see that on the budget. Right. Okay. Thank you, Virgil. Okay.
I'll offer real quick since we're on this. North is having the same issue with an engraver actually doing the engraving on the stones, just like you guys do, just because that seems to be a talent that's going by the wayside. And they have opted to switch to doing like a plaque that they get done every year and mounting it to it. So I think they're slowly going to try to go back and redo some of the old ones so that there is consistency. But if you're looking in California, don't look up north to get someone to come down and do it down south, because they're running into the same problem.
Okay, anything else? Hearing nothing, I'd be happy to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Commodore Michael Bozart, I'll make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Michael Bozart?
And I will second that motion.
Commodore Harshfield seconds. With that, I guess we're done here. Everybody have a great weekend, and thanks so much for participating.
Thank you, Commodore.
Thanks, guys. You guys have yourselves a good one. Be safe.